Good evening and welcome to this 7th round of the HSO's CART 1988 Championship, coming to you tonight from the Michigan International Raceway and the Michigan 500, where we are currently in practice with about 12.5 minutes to go until qualifying. We have a few additional cars running compared to last time out at Cleveland, but we'll get to those as the evening progresses. But let's have a quick look at the circuit that the drivers will be driving around this evening, where we have a 2-mile D-shaped oval, and we'll be doing 250 laps. And it's 12 degrees of banking at the start-finish line, then it's 18 degrees of banking in turn 1, 2, 3 and 4, and on the back straight it's 5 degrees. So we should see some pretty high speeds during the race, and even more so during qualifying, obviously. So the racing should be tight, the drafting should be pretty immense, and the risk of incidents is probably quite high as well. During the broadcast we will be joined in the broadcast booth by Scott Urick, who is driving this evening in one of the Penske's. Good evening, Scott.
Good evening.
And we'll mostly be talking with you during yellows, of course, but how do you look at your chances coming into tonight?
It's awfully tight. The difference of the cars is going to be negated almost totally by the draft. So Cosworth Power can stay with Chevy Power. The Porsche can get up there because the slipstream around here is just tremendous.
And that is oh wow! As we saw someone going for a bit of a loop, going out of the pits. But I'd assume that's one of the dangers around here, with such a small apron coming out of the pits and avoiding ending up on the banking and either spinning or ending up in an even worse situation than that.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, as we see a small little group coming by, one of the Domino cars, I'd assume that's Richard Coxon. And as Saber or Schurer, it's a little bit difficult to differentiate between some of the cars. But let's also quickly have a look at the point standing before we go into qualifying here. And after round 6 at Cleveland, which was a pretty hectic event by all accounts, Grant Riddell still holds the lead in the championship, which he took after round 3, I believe. Or maybe even after winning round 2, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, he's in the lead on 63 points. Jakob Fredriksson, who won last time out, and I think he has 2 wins in the championship now, sits second on 40 points. And then Alan Forster, our first round winner, sits third on 36 points, and then it's a share. Well, that's a bit of. I do apologize for the small mistake in the graphics, but then it's a shared 4th place between David Junt, Jan Kowalski and David Saber, with possibly more, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't checked the standings to such a degree that I know that, I'm afraid. But they are all on 35 points, so the championship is still fairly tight, although Grant has romped away just a little bit. And that's not entirely surprising, but I wouldn't have expected it to be Grant to romp away with the lead in the championship so early on. I would more have expected that to be either Dana Schurer or possibly someone like David Saber, Richard Coxon, but good on Grant for being able to do that, and hopefully he'll have a good run, as I hope everyone else will as well, because, as I said, the chance for situations is fairly high, and there aren't that much room, despite the widths of the track, to avoid incidents if they do happen. Let's have a quick ride on board here with Raoul Yerev as he goes into 3. Across the start-finish line now. And we can see the very heavy banking here, as we see a bit. Obviously Raoul was unfortunately looking somewhere else, but anyway, we continue our run on board here with, let's see who this would be. This is Alan Forster, hitting 354 kph, heading into turn 1. Or about, I believe, 233-4 mph. You can see here that Alan definitely prefers the tighter line. You can see that he is being followed by one of the Penske's, and that is Michael Drexler. As they go side by side into 3 and 4. This is most likely what we'll see, but with far more cars in one line. As we can see, the draft is pretty massive, to say the least. But we can also see, because I don't think he's cleared him, he hasn't, that Penske-Chevy combination is very potent, as Mikael heads into the pits to do a practice stop. And here we have Richard Coxon, who finished second last time out, and he has finished second twice. He also finished second at Portland. So he has 2 straight second places to his name, and I'm pretty sure he'll be hoping for a win here. Although it'll probably be a little bit more difficult here compared to the road courses. And we can see that Peter Lavac has a big gap to everyone else, and then it's very tight between second and third in son and father Ridol. Unfortunately, I also heard that Scott Urick disconnected just a moment or 2 ago. Hopefully he'll be back pretty soon here. Just Passer had a bit of problem with the circuit. I don't think he had updates applied earlier, but looks like it's working now for him. So that's nice. And with Raoul Yerev being from I believe it's Croatia. Apologies Raul if I'm wrong. And a former state of Yugoslavia, which was most of Balkan. Some of the drivers are making jokes about the Yugo, the native kart to that area of the world. And this was a practice qualifying run for Richard Coxon, but he's very far down here. He's only 19th, so that's a little bit surprising.
User joined your channel.
That isn't further up than he is, as we are now joined again by Scott. Was that a disconnection or what happened, Scott? Just wondering.
I just had to remap a couple buttons for TeamSpeak.
Yeah, okay. Were they sort of interfering with controls for your car?
No, they just weren't working.
Oh, that's...
So in other words, my self-censoring button was not active for our family viewers at home.
But yeah, I was sort of talking earlier about the chances for incidents, and I assume you would agree that the risk is fairly high, considering the speeds.
Not even fairly, it is very high, and with the slipstream, as I was saying before, it will be an immense risk because this field is going to be bunched up like you've not seen yet this season.
Yeah, I was also talking about that with the draft, and we were watching Drexler and me and names. I'm drawing completely blank here. God's sake. Forster and Drexler. Running together, and I was saying that this is probably what it'll look like, but with a few more cars, so maybe 10 in a line, drafting each other.
Oh yes. And the more cars there are in that group, the easier it will be for even additional cars to draft up to them. So the group tends to grow upon itself.
Indeed, and then of course there is the slight problem that if anyone in that group makes a mistake, everyone is in it because they are so closely bunched.
Oh, very much so.
I noticed the timer has run out, so we'll be heading in qualifying very shortly, so I'll wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we'll see how this goes. So far Lavach has had the so far Lavach has had the winning pace in practice, but qualifying is something completely different, so it'll be interesting to see how they all go. See if we have anyone heading out on track right at the start of qualifying here. Yes, we have, and it's Juha Boss. So let's jump on board with him and have a ride. As Johan now comes around the start finish line and starts his first time lap out of 2. No sparks flying, so that's a well set up suspension, I'd say. But you'd almost want a little bit of sparks coming out of the car to be really, really quick on your own. In my experience, of course, but I also noticed that on the forum people were saying that you want the car high so that you don't get the ground effects working. To be really, really quick in some of the cars, so that could be an interesting bit to see which drivers has gone which way. As Johan finishes his second flying lap, that puts him in a provisional fourth, but Scott, driving one of the Penske's, as I said earlier, is flying right here. He's currently sitting on provisional pole, going into 3. A little bit of sparking from the front wing as he turns in and as he comes out, but looking pretty good. Taking it right down to the grass and finishes his second timed lap, which is a 31.410, a whole 25 thousandths of a second ahead of Peter Lavac, who just went fastest by 45 thousandths of a second. That's quite impressive. Let's see, David Yates is on a timed lap here, so let's see how he does. I assume him to be pretty on the money. 14th so far, but he has one more lap to go. And taking her right down to the white line on turn-in. It goes for a much higher line compared to what Scott did earlier here. Let's see, that gives him a 6th place starting position preliminary. David Junt is on track as well, finishing his first flying lap now, putting himself in 12th, just behind Grant Guidall. So Grant has had a bit of a lackluster qualifying run. That's David's second flying lap, putting himself 7th, so he didn't improve. Let's see, anyone else? Simon Watman driving the number 98 car for this event, in place of Steve Parker, who unfortunately is off working tonight. Simon finished his first flying lap, 33.1. Oh, getting very close to the wall, coming out of 2 there. Going right out wide. In a much higher line approach compared to many others, which is interesting. Let's see if he can improve. Unfortunately he cannot, so Simon will be starting last for this event. I also noticed that Alan Forster is out on track, coming around to finish his last flying lap in qualifying here, and he goes 5th. So some pretty close times between the top 3, just as it was at Indy, an all Penske top 3. With Lavac in first, Urick starting second, and Drexler third. With Janak fourth, Forster fifth, Dana Schurer sixth, David Yates seventh, David Junt eighth, Reidal 9th and Raul Jereb rounding out the top 10 in qualifying. So that looked like a pretty successful qualifying run for you, Scott.
Yeah, but I left a little too much on the table. I was wide. I was wider than I wanted to be at both ends of the track, and or it would have been even closer up front.
Well, 45 thousandths of a second isn't that much, to be fair, so... But yeah, I think I can understand your frustration, but still a second place front row starting position, that should put you in good stead. And that should hopefully also put you out of danger for any opening lap debacle that may or may not take place.
Yes, if we don't get jumped on the start. But I hope not to be. I think I've got it set up to make a good jump.
That sounds promising, I must say. Let's see. So yeah, there were also a small little addition that the admin team has made for this version of Michigan that we're using. This scoreboard that you can see on screen at the moment is actually working. So during the race, during yellows, I will take the time to show this one in action, and maybe even during the race when there's action going on inside the top 5, so you can see the positions change as the race is going on. But until then, that's a very neat touch by the admin team, and it's really nice to see such additions being made to an already fantastic looking circuit. We can see someone smoking over there. Almost looks like one of the Penske's, if I'm not entirely mistaken. And if I'm right about that, that would be pretty far down by now, but that looked like Michael Rexler's car, but it wasn't, so I'm not sure who that would have been then. And Richard Wilkes goes up to second in warm-up here, 1/1000th of a second behind Scott and the Penske. So as you can see, the racing will be very close. Let's see, maybe we can take this moment, find any one of the drivers driving this event. Of course, Simon Watman I mentioned during qualifying, driving a 98. I believe Pascal Mikela may be a one-off driver, I'm not entirely sure, so forgive me Pascal if I'm wrong. Yes, he is a one-off driver, driving the Jiffy sponsored number 21 in place of Peter Blom, who is not able to drive tonight. Let's see, Mick Shepman I saw there, he just jumped up, but there he is, driving the number 77, which he also drove at Indy. And as he said himself when he signed up for the car, he has some unfinished business. He unfortunately got taken out in a crash about 60 laps into the Indianapolis 500 during a lapping gone wrong, unfortunately. So hopefully he'll be able to finish this Michigan 500 in that car. And And I do believe that is all our one-off drivers. Number 85 may also be a one-off drive for Louis Stevens, actually. The SDP sponsored Super Aware Control car. Oh, getting very close to, I believe that will have been either Grant or Ray Riddle, not entirely sure which of them, because their cars are very similar in color. And there we can see Alberto Ibanez in the Pennzoil car.
No, that would be Peter Lavich.
No, sorry, yeah, that's Peter Lavich. My apologies. Alberto Ibanez isn't driving with us tonight either, so that's Lavich one-off drive. I'm so used to Alberto being in that number 5 that
Yes.
it's sometimes it's a little bit difficult to keep them differentiated. So I apologize if I make further mistakes. And we can see that Grant and Ray drafting each other went fastest so far, 2 thousandths between themselves. And Mikael Drexler just went up there as well, going drafting with Richard Coxon, and very difficult to see the numbers. So Alan Forster and Raoul Yereb. So this is a bit of a taste of what we'll see. This is 4 cars, and there goes Richard Coxon into the pits. You can see further up there is a bit of a drafting party as well. If we can find them. There is Juha Bols involved with Ray and Grant. And Grant pushing Ray very bump draft style. That's what you'd say in NASCAR. And that is why it's very scary if something goes wrong, because everyone will be more or less as close as that as they go around the track. Grant and Ray is clearly planning to... Oh, as there's a touch there. Oh, and a big crash because of that. So that's what we may end up seeing in the race as well. Juha went around outside and just made slight contact with Grant, and it unnerved and settled the car enough, and Grant went straight up into the outside retaining wall. Here comes that group of now Stevens, Forster and Yereb. Oh, and a bit of suspension and all manners of debris still laying around the track where Grant Riddle went off. Oh, and going into the pits, there's contact there between Stevens and Forster. That's also a something that could easily happen during the race. But yeah, we are 30 seconds away from heading into the race, so...
Well, Jonathan, I've got to go hop in the car. Hope to talk to you many times during the race.
I sort of hope we don't talk too much during the race, because then it'll be a long race. But anyway, good luck, and I hope you have a good run.
Thank you, sir.
And for the starting procedure, compared to a real-life event, we'll have 1 lap 2 wide start to hopefully get the event started without too many issues, which we saw bits of during Indianapolis, during practice starts that was held before the race was go. And it still gives plenty of opportunities for passing during the start, so we'll see what happens. So let's quickly go through the grid here. So Lavat starts on pole with Urick 2nd, Drexler 3rd, Janak 4th with Forster 5th and Dana Shure 6th. 7th for David Yates and 8th for David Jund, 9th Ray Riddle and 10th for Raoul Jereb. Jakob Fröksen lines up 11th, very suitable considering he has number 11 on his car. 12th for Lee Simpson, 13th for Grant Riddle, 14th for Juha Bors, 15th for Mikola, 16th Coxon, 17th for White, 18th for Kowalski, 19th for Adam Hackman with Richard Wilkes 20th, yeah. 21st for David Saber and 22nd for Louis Stevens, 23rd for Bruno Chacon with Holada 24th, 25th for Jason Whited, 26th for Mick Chapman, 27th for Simon Wattman, and 28th is Yves Placé, who had a little bit of trouble getting into the race, but during qualifying, getting the track to work. But the race is almost here, and oh, a bit of a checking up there, and the green flag flies, and the race is underway. Oh, and it gets very grouped up in the middle there. A bit further back in the field, but looks like everyone more or less gets through at least the opening bits of lap 1. Oh, was that someone off, or is... No, it looks like everyone is still going. So Scott Urick has taken the lead here with a jump off the start. A very nice jump, as Lavach decided to check up to not get penalized for passing the safety car. With Drexler 3rd, Forster 4th, and then it's Forster 4th with 5th for David Yates, of course, 6th for Dana Shure, who's going underneath David Yates here. Yates had a lot of understeer going into 3. Oh, and looks like Urick has a big gap. It's Urick in the lead, and then it's everyone else. We can see Alan Forster going up the inside here in 1 and 2. Oh, doesn't quite. Peely has to overlap, and here comes Drexler up the inside of Forster, going for 2nd. Oh, and Dana Shure tries to get underneath. Oh, Forster as well, really close there. Oh, looks like both of them survive. If only just. Oops, wrong way, my apologies. There we are. Oh, and it sounds like we may have a yellow here. I believe we do indeed. So let's see if we can find out what has happened. Oh, it looks like it may be Mick Chapman. Let's see if we can get that on the replay. Hopefully we should be able to. Looks like he may have been out for some time actually. And no, it's Adam Hackman. My apologies, I misidentified the car. So Adam Hackman is out of this race. Oh dear. The DNF, so either must have been something. I'm not entirely sure what may have happened, unfortunately. But that puts us under yellow flag conditions, with Scott Urick first after the initial 3-lap sprint that we've had here. Second for Mikael Drexler. Third for Alan Forster. Fourth for Dana Schurer. Fifth for David Yates. Sixth for Peter Lavach. Seventh for Mikola. Eighth for David Junt. Ninth for Richard Coxon, and 10th for Jakob Frugsen, which will become 9th because Alan Forster is in the pits. Looking for either some damage repair or just filling her up with fuel to have a bit of a better go. And we can see that there's a few others heading into the pits as well. Looks like that's Lee Simpson and Simon Watman. So yeah, a bit of a hectic start there, but hopefully it won't be too long a yellow flag situation here. So it'll only be hopefully one more lap after this, and then we will be underway again. And it is unfortunate that Adam went out of the race, but it's all part of the learning experience, unfortunately. But to get better you have to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Of course, I don't know if he made a mistake or not, but that is how you learn, unfortunately. That's strange, that one should be working, but it's not at the moment. Could of course be that I don't have enough. I may take the next yellow to go for a quick commercial break, and I'll try to up the track graphics. I have them on second highest, so I may need to have them on the very highest setting to make that show, but either way, hopefully we'll be going for the green flag here. No, okay. So I will quickly jump out and fix the track detail, so hold tight and we'll be right back.
attention grid.
My apologies for not being quite prepared. But hopefully it'll work now. But it looks like we are just about to head back to green flag. We are indeed. There we are. So green flag flies and the race is underway once again. Fortunately I now don't get the times, but it is what it is. Hopefully that is working at least. But it looks like there's a bit of stuff going on back here. There is indeed. That's Richard Coxon in the number 30. Oh, Mikla looking up the inside. And that's Grant Riddle. Almost side-by-side contact between Coxon and Riddle. We're getting really close to the walls as well. You can see a few groups forming, and there's a couple of cars running on their own, and then there's a group at the back running together, and that's David Yates running very high, and then it's Scott Urick still in the lead, but he is being caught by Drexler and Scherer, who's working together here to try and catch him. Here we can see Lavac has gotten by David Yates now, but he's running a high line, so he may be repassed here. Ooh, even higher line was Mikla, right? I believe that was Mikla. No, sorry, that was David Yates running really wide. So that was Coxon sitting behind Lavac now. I believe we are now on lap 10. Yeah, it looks like looking really tight right here. But unless they get to working together, they will struggle to catch the cars ahead. A bit further back here we can see Mikkola and Junt running together. And then there's also Ray Riddle and Jakob Fredriksson trying to draft each other as well. Looks like David is actually almost looks like David is trying to pass Mikkola up ahead there. Oh, no, they survived, so all good. And then we have Bors and Kowalski running together here, and they are going up the inside of Ray Riddle. So Ray is struggling a little bit in these early stages. And then there's another big group, that's Jason White at the front of that group. And he has David Saber for company, as well as Louis Stevens, Richard Wilkes, and that red car is Yves Placet, trying to make his way up the grid as Saber goes up inside of Jason White, who should be able to slot in behind Saber here. almost contact. And here we have, I believe that's Holada indeed, and Chapman running together. And then we get to the next group here with Lee Simpson, Alan Forster, who went into the pits, and Watman. All of these, of course, went into the pits during the yellow. And then there's the Porsche of Bruno Chacon, trying to catch up to the fellas ahead. And here we have Jason Whited running on his own at the time at the moment. But Scott Urick is checking out here. He has a big lead. You can see about half the backstretch. That must be at least 3, possibly 4 or even 5 seconds. Probably 5 seconds. So yeah, he has definitely checked out here and making the best of this opportunity. So far. We can see it's actually even saving fuel at the moment because he's running a 5th gear. That should only be a drafting gear, but it's working for Scott at the moment, so I think he is very happy with his situation at the moment. And here we have the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Still trying to draft up to 2nd and 3rd up ahead, with Coxon now not wanting to be at the front of this little group, so he lets Lavage go to the front. And then we of course have Grant Riddle and David Yates also in this group. You can see here what the draft does. 3 cars ahead and he drafted up a good 0.4 or 5 tenths of a second just on the front straight. But of course he doesn't want to lose too much, because if he ends up too far back the draft will be cut and he will be completely out of this battle for the time being, but for now it's definitely working for him. And then of course we have here an even bigger group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars at the moment, with Mikkola at the front, and it's Junt, Ray Riddle, Jakob Fredriksson, Kowalski and Boss. So that's a pretty hefty bunch right there. Like to make the best of the drafting and waiting for the next yellow to climb up the grid, because it looks like they have lost the group ahead, at least for now. But of course anything can happen, so we'll see. See here, David Junt is very happy to just sit behind Mikkola for the time being, making use of that draft to save a bit of fuel and still going pretty fast indeed. And there is Ray Riddle looking up inside just to break the draft for a little bit and avoid hitting David up the rear. looked a little bit close between Riddle and Jungfrau when they turned in. And of course Jung sits in a shared fourth, so he wants a good finish here. Try and scrape a few points back and try to climb up the leaderboard a little bit. Looks like most of this group is pretty happy to sit where they are. And here we have Michal Janak running the number 20, which we saw Scott Urick run at Indianapolis. I think Janak took that car later on. But of course I could be wrong about that. Paul Reb sitting right here, so he's broken 3 of this group with White, Placé, Wilkes and Stevens, and now also David Saber. Oh, sorry, he was already there. But yeah, we have another yellow. Oh, it looks like it may be. Looks like it is Alan Forster. He at least looked to be wounded. Running with a lot of sparks coming out of his car. See if he definitely seems to be wounded. Let's see if... Yeah, I'd assume they threw the yellow for Alan Forster, because he was going slow on the inside grass there. I don't know if he has picked up damage or not. He may very well have. Anyway, we could see that there were a few cars who has been lapped. But Scott Urick still holds the lead. And presumably there will be pit stops coming, so we'll just wait a moment to see if... Yeah, Scott heads into the pits. Some of those who has been lapped stays out. And it looks like most of the field will be heading into the pits here. To not say all the whole field, but we can see that that's Grand Prix. Was that Grand Prix without a rear wing? Oh, it is! No, sorry, that's not Grand Prix, it's Lee Simpson. So Lee Simpson has lost the rear wing. When did that happen? I'll just have a quick look to see if I can find out what happened, and we'll catch up on what has happened during the pit stops when we may or may not find out what happened to Lee. So it looks like it happened around... Must have happened a lot earlier somewhere. Well, that's really unfortunate. Let's jump up. Michal Janak has taken the lead of this race, but he stayed out. Looks like he's heading into the pits now. As does Mick Chapman by the looks of things. And Bob Hulada and Grant Rideau. Oh, as Dana Shure almost gets hit up the rear by one of the Penske's there. We can see most of the rest of those who didn't pit earlier heading into the pits. Dana Shure takes the lead here, ahead of Scott Urick, I believe that is. So Scott, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
That was a pretty good opening bit of this race, I must say, by the looks of things at least.
I'm trying to figure out what's wrong.
Do you mean no yellows? Or
And of course, Dana makes another fabulous pit stop. For some reason, from being on the front row, my pits is down in the first third of the pit lane, so I had no acceleration advantage coming in behind the pace cars, so makes it a little bit tougher.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate.
But no, all is going well, and
Yeah, I noticed you were running in 5th gear, so presumably you were very happy during parts of that run, being able to run in 5th gear and save a bit of fuel.
saving the fuel, the boost is down. It's just going. The car is driving beautifully.
That's good to hear. Unfortunately, I had to jump out to try and make a small change to the graphics. Could you tell me what lap we are on at the moment? Okay, I still can't get that
We
working.
are
Anyway,
currently touring lap 34.
okay. That should hopefully give me a bit of a chance to keep up with what lap we are running on.
We have finished lap 33. This will be lap 34. We haven't gotten the 1 to go signal yet, so perhaps we'll go green, start lap 36.
Okay, apologies about that. But yeah, looking at the now sitting in 2nd with Dana ahead and the Penske or Drexler behind you, do you think you will be able to romp away yet again and be able to run neatly at the front of the field, or do you expect a bit more argy-bargy in the next stint of the race?
I don't know. That a lot of that depends on how tightly Dana or Michael, how tenaciously they hop on my gearbox. I do plan on going past Dana here on the start, but I'm sure she was just looking for an opportunity to get up front and tag on.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past her to maybe even short fuel to achieve that goal. But yeah,
Back to work.
Yeah, looks like the safety car is heading in, so good luck and hopefully talk to you a little bit later.
Okay.
So that was Scott Urick, and now we are heading back to the green. So let's ride on board with Dana here and see if Scott can do what he said he hoped to do and get by Dana on the start. Oh, he gets really close to the rear end of Dana here, and she gets completely swamped by both the Penske, so she still has to overlap on Drexler though. And it's 3 and almost 4 wide going through 1 and 2. It looks like everyone has survived the opening bits at least, which is good to see. And again, Scott is in the lead. So he'll of course we have Yves Placé heading out of the pits by the looks of things. It looks like he may even have damage. At least I believe that is Yves. It is indeed. So Yves' jet-powered car is in a little bit of strife here as he gets overrun by everyone. Oh, that's Pascal Mikela up in the wall. When he comes down right in front of Jakob Fredriksson, and now in front of Richard Coxon and David Junt. That's a little bit naughty. Let's see if we can see what happened to put him up there. Just a small mistake by the looks of things. Yeah, it looked like he got a little bit loose and ran along the wall there. Hopefully he'll be okay either way. We can see up front now, or more or less up front, Scott Urick is romping away yet again, but Dana's been able to hold Drexler behind her for the time being, and David Yates as well. Oh, Yates getting a little bit loose on the high line, and Peter Lavac slips by on the inside. And Drexler running all the way around outside here to try and get by Dana. I think he may even have done it here with that Chevrolet Power in that Penske chassis. Oh, and everyone is in this group now, with David Yates and Richard Coxon, Lavac. Ray Ridal is up here, but I think. Yeah, that's Ray. And of course, Pascal Miklas made his way back up a few positions since we last saw him scraping the wall. And David Juntas up here as well. Then the next group is Jakob Fredriksson by the looks of things, so he has dropped back just a little bit. Oh, an almost contact there between Ray Ridal and Junt. No, sorry, that was Yves Placé that Junt almost made contact with. So unfortunately, Yves Placé is breaking the draft for Ridal and Junt. You can see that Richard Wilkes has just been lapped. Unfortunately for him, but he may still be able to make up quite a few positions as the race goes on. But we can see that Dana Shure has lost out in the last few laps, dropping back through this group. And David Yates had a run there, but didn't want to go for it. Oh, but he goes for it here, going up the inside. And the group has now gone into line astern, so that's this bit calmed down just a little bit. We can see that Pascal Mikkola has dropped a little bit away from this group, so he'll probably be caught by Ridal and Junt. Talking about Ridal, here is Grant as well, following Janak and being followed himself by Jakob Fredriksson. And then that's Raoul Jereb, I think, in that white car. If I've identified that one correctly, I have indeed. So this is another group running. And Simon Watman is in here as well. So he's having a nice, neat little race here so far, being able to unlap himself during the pit stops. And oh no, no, oh no, 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 and that'll be another yellow. So that was Raoul Jereb ending up on the grass. I'm not entirely sure how he ended up there. Let's see, he's trying to follow. We tried to follow Grant Ridal down the low line, but he missed just a little bit and flipped his car and ended up right in the way of Simon Watman and David Saber. So both of those two also involved in this big incident, and I don't know if anyone else behind hit the debris, but you see Raoul Jereb is still running. Don't think everyone will be running after that. David Saber is out. It looks like Simon Watman may be out as well, unfortunately. Sitting on the inside of the track, upside down. And Simon Watman is out as well. Well, that's really unfortunate. But it was one of the risks, unfortunately, running around here, that if you end up on the grass, the car will, with the ground effect, take off. Just like an airplane wing. But we have just passed, a couple of laps ago I believe, we passed a 50 lap barrier, so we have 200, a little bit less than 200 laps to go here. And that almost sounded like you opened a can of beer or something, Scott. That's a bit early, isn't it?
No. That was just... that was a glitch. My gearbox.
Okay. Hopefully it'll hold together during the whole race. But again, you're in the lead here, and you had a good lead before this yellow. So clearly, either you are running much harder than everyone else, or you are just having the perfect race so far.
Just like Indianapolis, I haven't even let it out yet. On the starts, yes, but then, like I said, boost is down. I'm in 5th gear, just trying to make mileage. I did notice that Drexler in the Miller car and Coxon in the pizza, or in the Domino's car, the Noid, if you remember that ad campaign.
Yeah,
those two seem to have found a working relationship and were coming back to me, so... or coming up to me, so I'll have to keep an eye on that gap.
that is one of the...
But the cautions are certainly helping with the mileage.
Yeah, always something positive from a driver's eye view with anything going on. And that's also one of the awesome things with oval racing, that you can have a driver that you work with really well, and then suddenly during a pit stop they go away or disappear behind you, and
Yes.
you have to find someone else that you can work with.
Yes, if the pit stops aren't perfectly choreographed together, it's really hard to stay with a drafting partner through, especially green flag pit stops.
And that's very true indeed. Although Urick is actually trying to repair his car after all that. It'll take quite a while, but if they can get it together and he can run the race, he could still get a pretty good finish here. But so looking at the next restart, I'd assume you want to try and get a bit of a gap before they can work together, and you can save a bit more fuel before you get a bit of a drafting going on between yourself and the guys behind.
Yes.
Presuming that they are able to work together after the restart as well.
As is normal with these races, where there's a lot of early dicing going on. And I don't think I am the only car, just other than getting a good restart and being out in front. You know, any two of those cars of the 10 or 12 behind me, if they would team up, would have an easy day Hey, getting around me, my own. That's what I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that to happen, and then it will become dicey.
Yeah, that's one of the dangers around the super speedway like Michigan. On a short oval, I'd assume you'd have a bit of an easier time with that as such.
Okay, back to work.
Yep, good luck, and hope you have another good green flag run here. So we are going back to green. We have Scott Urick still in the lead, Drexler behind him in the second Penske, and Richard Coxon behind him, and then it's Yakes, Lavach, Scherer, Kowalski, Mikkola. Oh, and a big shake-up as the safety car didn't quite get going in the pits. It looks like Scott has romped away yet again, and then it's too wide between Coxon and Drexler. And then Yakes trying to get into the fray as well. And everyone fanning out, trying to find a bit of real estate. As we can see right here. And now it's the top three is now Penske, if only for a little while, because here comes Coxon up the inside of Lavach in his Domino sponsored number 30. And here we see also Dana Scherer running a little bit of a higher line, trying to get a good run onto the start-finish straight. Trying to go around the outside, but I don't think she will have much to gain there. Instead she gets Kowalski, I think that is, going up the inside of her. Or trying at least, but she was able to hold on. Now she goes up the inside of Lavach instead. I think that'll be much better for her. But Coxon and Drexler is now working together, as we can see here. Slowly pulling away from the cars behind. Ooh, almost a bit of side-by-side contact back there by the looks of things between Lavach and Scherer. Everyone is still trying to find a little bit of a real estate here, trying to find a bit of a gap to run in. We can see Jason White is up into, I believe that would be 11th place. It is indeed. Oh, and Jacobsen and Junt almost making contact there. Janak and Bos for close company. At least I believe that would be Juha Bos. Sorry, that's what Kowalski, so it's Bos up in the lead group. Going more side by side and all over the place stuff going on here. Now it's Yakes in 4th and everyone else in 5th. Ron Riddle is in this one now, as is, by the looks of things, Ray Riddle. And of course Pascal Mikkola has been around this group for the whole race. And I believe we just passed the 60th lap, more or less. I do apologize, I'm trying to keep up manually here. I'm not doing too good a job at that, but anyway, we can see further up ahead Scott Urick has been caught and is now in a sandwich between Drexler and Coxon. Oh, that was a bit of a lag spike. Looked like Urick was going up towards the wall then. And My apologies, I've left the yellow flag on. There we go. And let's see, Grant Ridol and Lavach is now running nose to tail, so they will be looking to pull away from the rest of the group, but Heavy DX is not giving it up too easily. He is sitting right behind Ridol now. But with it now being 3 at the front of the field, it's not unlikely that everyone in this group will catch up as well. And there will be a more or less 10-car train for the lead. And now David Yates is at the back of this group all of a sudden. That's a bit surprising. It's one of those, if you end up out of the group, it's very difficult to get back in your original position in the line. It's too wide up in the front of this group. That's Ray Ridol ahead of us here, I believe. Spores ahead of him. So you should get a pretty good run through here. Maybe they'll be able to catch up back up to the group ahead. When he had to check down to the bottom, so that was Ray Ridol coming up the outside with an even better run. See here that the draft makes a big difference. We're changing positions pretty hectically in the last couple of laps. But they have sort of caught up to the group. But for the lead it's still 3, but Urick is now in the lead after Drexler had it for a few laps, with Coxon second. Here comes Drexler going around outside of Coxon and passing him pretty easily. So that must have been more boost in being put down for Drexler. And then we have this line of cars, 7 or 8, 7 of them I believe. It's still pretty hectic there. And then we have another couple of cars here with Ray and Jason. just have a quick look. Oh dear me, Jason White is out of this race. He has blown his engine. I completely missed that. That's very unfortunate. But Urick is still running, although many laps down after having repaired his car. And this group has been broken up a little bit, with Danasher and Lavach running on their own. Oh, there's been a crash actually! Wow! So this is exactly what can happen if you if you're in the bad luck of being in the middle of this. Let's see if we can catch what happened. If only by a little bit. Unfortunately we can't. But we will of course have a yellow after that. So that's a bit unfortunate, but yellow. Oh dear me, that is you have Boss, I believe. Taking the biggest. Oh, Mick Chapman has run out of fuel! Oh dearie me. Wow. Let's see if I can find... Yeah, Kowalski is running, so that must be... You have Boss with all that damage. It is indeed. So that's a really unfortunate situation, but we can see quite a few guys going into the pits here, to not say everyone. Looks like, oh, Coxon getting it really sideways, getting out of his pit stall, so he loses out to Urick. Lavach is still in the pits. I wonder if he's repairing damage. He could be. Drexler has a very long pit stop as well. So that must be some damage repair being done by some of these guys.
Ooh, that was close.
Between you and Coxon, you mean?
Oh,
or just
no,
in general?
Just as soon as the yellow came out, just as I got my fuel warning.
Oh. Unfortunately, Mick Chapman ran out of fuel earlier in the race. So that must have happened during the last yellow. Quick question, what lap are we on?
We are now touring lap 73, just finished 72.
There we go, now I'm up to date on that as well. So yeah, a bit of a close one, but looks like you're still in the lead group as such. David Junt must have had a devil of a pit stop here, because he's sitting in second.
And I don't know what position he was in beforehand.
I think he was in, what would that be, 11th or 12th? He was in that group at least.
Stop. If he got all he needed.
Indeed, that's always a bit of a question mark in situations where you gain a lot of ground. One who had a bad pit stop was Michael Drexler, I noticed earlier, and he has dropped back quite a bit here by the looks of things. He's quite far back in the field now. He's sitting in, that would be 11th or 12th, I believe. 12th indeed.
I think David Jakes and I both got a little exuberant getting out of the pits.
So that was Jakes. My apologies, I misidentified the car.
Yes. I was having a tough time getting revs up to get it out of there. I kept almost stalling it, and when I finally got it to go, then it lit up the rear tires, and Jake's was coming out as well, and I noticed he lit his up too and about drove back to pit wall. So
yeah, we did catch that. I just misidentified David Yates. And listening to the revs, it sounds like the safety car is heading into the pits. So good luck for the next green flag run here. As the safety car heads in and the green flag will fly. And Bob Holada leads the field away, being right behind the safety car. But Dana Schurer is in the lead here with Junt second and Urick third. And we can see Urick trying to make his way past David Junt here. Not quite being able to. Ooh, he jumps out from behind him and goes up the inside and goes by. He just needed a little bit of extra room to pull that off. We can see here that Holada is on the inside. Oh, Urick, oh, he's threading the needle. Oh, dearie me. Oh, that's a bit brave, but he managed to do it. But oh, Bob Holada may have been up in the wall there. Hopefully he wasn't, and he can keep going without any damage. But again, Schurer had another good pit stop as well. But Urick is again up into the lead of this race. And there we can see in the back Lavach making a move in 1 and 2, going up the inside of several cars actually. Oh no! Oh no! No! Mikolai's off on the inside. Did he keep it off the wall? Oh, maybe, just maybe. But he gets back onto the racing surface. Oh, but he's going very slowly. I think he may have hit the wall somewhere. And this could be another yellow. Let's see if we can catch what happens to him here. Oh, Drexler is... Oh, he hits Drexler up the rear actually. Oh, and I think he will have hit the inside wall indeed. But he does a good job. Jumps on the brakes to avoid going right onto the racing surface with everyone going. But we do not have a yellow flag, so everyone is still more or less running. We can see that Johan Boos is still in the pits making repairs. And we have a few cars running a few laps down, but no yellow flag with that, so we are still running good here. Oh, and Dana Schurer has lost out a little bit. Scott Urick again has a nice big little lead here. Right up onto the gearbox goes David Junt on David Yates. As we are heading on to lap 80. Here comes David Junt up the inside. And David Yates washes wide, and that allows Lavach to go by in the number 5 Pensoid Penske. Yates again washes wide, so he must have his wings very low, very low. Oh, but here he goes up the inside. goes up past. They are now line stand, so if they I was going to say if they continue to run like that, they should be able to catch up to Scott here, but if they are going to race, then it'll be a bit less likely for them to catch him. A bit further back we have a 4-car train as well, with Drexler, Coxon, Grant and Grant Rudol and oh, that's I believe that's Ray Riddle, but he's running a lap behind. So he must have been involved in that stuff going on earlier in this group. So we lost a couple of them. You have both being the biggest casualty out of that, with him, I believe his Snow he has gotten running, but I don't know how the damages to his car are. You can see that Scott still has a pretty sizable lead here, and by the sounds of the engine, he is again running in the 5th gear, trying to make even more mileage. You can see here Drexler going to the inside of the track, Coxon trying to follow him. Drexler goes up the inside of Dana Schurer, but he had to check up a little bit. He had nowhere to go. But here he goes up the inside again, and Coxon trying to push him. Not quite able to do anything with that. Now they are going into 2 lines. Drexler trying to make it all the way up to the front. Oh, almost does it, but not quite. Still, well, sort of status quo. Drexler has made it up to the front, and Coxon now trying to make his way up the inside of Lavach here. And Grant pushing him along, so I think they'll be able to get by Lavach here. Or maybe not. Lavach got the draft from Drexler going down the back straight, and that helped him out. As we are going on to lap 90, I believe. They are again trying to make their way past Lavach. And I believe the lead, Urick is now getting up to cars that can be lapped. That's Mikola and presumably Juha Boos. Oh, as Urick goes up the inside of Mikola, Mikola almost turning down on him. And then it's Bruno Chacon in the Porsche next. And then I believe that should be Juha Boos indeed. Urick dispenses with that group of cars pretty neatly. It'll be a bit more difficult for these guys, I think, to get by all of those cars. Lavach going down to the inside of the track. I don't know if he just wanted to avoid hitting Dana Schurer, but looked very, very scary for a moment there. And back here we have another group, that's Yves Placé, I think, at the front of this group, a few laps back. And then it's Kowalski, Fredriksson, White and Alan Forster, I believe, so he is still on the lead lap. Oh, and we have a big crash here. We have a big crash. Oh, Mikola is out. Oh, whatever happened here? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So I think everyone must have come together here. Let's see if we can... looks like Ron Riddle was already on the grass before we got there. And yeah, it's just everyone flying off together here. Wow. So that's at least Pascal Mikola out. Ron Riddle looks to only have had a spin. Maybe a little bit of damage on his car. And there we have one of the... And that is... Oh, David Yates is out! Wow. And Mikola, of course, out after blowing the engine in that crash. So that's very, very unfortunate. And with that we've of course lost at least 2 more cars, as everyone is heading, well, maybe not everyone, but a lot of cars are heading into the pits. You can see David Junt at the front of the pits here. That's Dana Schurer heading out to the pits. And then it's Coxon, I think that's Kowalski. And then it's Fredriksson, Riddle. So Riddle had no damage, just a spin for him. But we can see here that the number 5 Pennzoil of Lavach lost at least his front wing in that crash. So that's very, very unfortunate indeed. So we are back to a Jello here, and I think it's a pretty neat time to do this on about lap 95. As we can see now, the lead is heading into the pits. So I'll quickly do this because we have a small trivia question for you all. And I'll give you the question now, and you can think about your answer until the next yellow comes, and we'll reveal the answer to this question. But the question itself is: who won the first Michigan 500 in 1981? A. Bobby Unser, that's senior of course. B. Pancho Carter. Or C. John Paul Jr. I think that's a pretty difficult one to answer right, in my opinion. I certainly had no idea when I had a question asked to me, but it'll be interesting to see how you all do who watch. But the answer will be revealed during the next yellow. So Scott, we are back on the yellow here, and it looks like you've had a bit slower pit stop here.
No, actually, I came in on the second lap.
Ah, okay.
I wasn't going to come in, and a bunch of the leaders stayed out with me, and then I saw them all lined up to come in after that. And yes, it was a tad slower. I apologize to Eve. Juha decided he was going to pass along the pit wall and race through the pit boxes, so I had to stutter for a second getting in and ended up pitting a little long in the box.
Ooh. Okay. Just to quickly double check what lap are we on?
We are touring 99 right now.
Oh, I was a bit late
Coming
again.
to start lap 100.
Yeah, so very good time indeed to ask the trivia question while you were in the pits. Now let's see, I heard someone joins, Pascal Mikola. Pascal, I didn't quite catch what happened, but it looked very unfortunate.
That's the best way to put it.
Unfortunately, we are going back to green, so my apologies, Pascal. Hopefully you can stay until we get a bit of downtime in the race here. We can chat about how your race was going and how it ended. My apologies for cutting you off. But the race is underway. Dana Scherrer is in the lead. Junt is second, going for the lead here. And Junt goes around outside, and he has a well enough of an overlap, so he will, I believe at least, lead this race for at least a lap. And then it's Richard Coxon going down to the very edge of the grass here to go up the inside of Dana Scherrer, and I think that's Kowalski going around outside. It is indeed, but Scherrer is holding on around outside of Coxon and stays in second place for the time being. David Junt has a bit of a neater time, but everyone else going side by side down the front straight. And Dana looking up the inside of David Junt here. I think she will have gone up the inside, but Jan Kowalski pushing Junt up front, and here comes Scott Urick out of nowhere. Oh, and a side-by-side contact, a lot of side-by-side contact by the looks of things between Kowalski and Scherrer. So Kowalski drops back a little bit, and here comes Scherrer putting a bit of more boost on. Oh, and a bit of more side-by-side contact between her and Junt. So a lot of argy-bargy right here, but here comes Scott Urick up the inside. Now going middle. Oh, and a slow car on the inside of the track here. That looks like Lee Simpson with a lot of damage to his car. If I'm not entirely mistaken, that will be Lee Simpson. It is indeed, so he is currently running without a rear wing. Unless it's just a bit of the graphics playing a game on us, but anyway, Scott Urick has taken the lead yet again in this race. So he is clearly very happy with how his car and himself is running. And then it's Grant Goodall and Richard Coxon, Dana Scherrer, David Junt, and it looks like Jan Kowalski at the back of this queue. And then there's a bit of a gap down to Mikael Drexler, who's made his way up the grid. And then we have Jason White running side by side with Ray Riddle, I believe that is. Was indeed. And there is Alan Forster trying to make his way up the field as well. Still on the lead lap, I think. And Jakob Fredriksson is running in this group as well with Jason White and Alan Forster. So clearly his car isn't quite as happy with the oval, at least not for the time being, although he's staying on the lead lap. And that's well and enough of what you could hope to achieve around a super speedway. But as we have a bit of a calmer time on the racetrack at the moment, more or less I'll keep the cameras on this battle here. But Pascal, go ahead with what you were going to say earlier about...
Oh, well, first of all, thanks for having cut me off, gave me good time to calm down. Because there's... I don't know what to say about this, because it's yet another non-finish. Not that I have enough in this year already. I was actually running quite well. Was after the last yellow 6th, and before that though, the yellow that happened there actually was caused by me and Grand Radol getting together. Basically, I was in front of him and was trying to get inside, so like in front of him, so that he could be in my draft, but for some reason he managed to touch my rear and basically push my car into the grass, where I flipped over, and well, I did a few, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a few loop-de-loops and fortunately landed on my wheels, although my rear suspension took quite a beating.
We didn't catch that actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, did a few loops and the suspension took a hard beating. It wasn't undrivable, it was just a little bit unstable getting into the turns with the banking, would get loose. So anyways, after that yellow I was sick and I was battling, you know, with Coxley, Drexler, and I don't know what happened because it happened too fast, but what I would say is apparently for some reason Drexler needed to go to the inside, well, as I said, for some reason, and either didn't realize or didn't care about me being where he wanted to go. So he just at 215 miles an hour pushed me onto the grass again. I mean, I got pushed onto the grass for the second time basically, and I almost flipped the car. My car almost flipped again. I just managed to avoid it by slowing down as well as I could.
User joined your channel.
Do you like Camembert, Pascal?
What do you mean?
Do you like cheese?
Why?
Well, I have a very nice piece of cheese here to go with that wine you're pouring right now. I'm kidding.
Thanks.
Well, it's very it's very unfortunate, Pascal. But
after that, I got lapped and got touched again, and that just ended it all.
yeah.
Can you show us on the doll where the bad man touched you?
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Scott, I don't think a lot of these jokes are translating to German well. FYI.
No, probably not.
No.
Probably not. Did anybody see that?
We didn't see quite what you mean right here, but we did see a bit of an incident. I'd assume you were caught up in that, Jason, since you're here.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was coming down the straightaway and I saw Drexler up against the wall, and then he started to come down the banking. I don't know how much control he had over his vehicle. If I were in his shoes, I would have had my foot firmly on the brake to make sure that the car wasn't moving, but he was rolling down the bank and I had to make a split decision as to which side to go. I I think
User joined your channel.
I think I actually froze a tiny bit, but I ended up hitting him. The initial hit didn't do too much damage. Then I hit the wall on the outside and lost a wheel. So that's it. So that's the risk you run. This race has more to do with fighter jets than it does with automobile racing. So it's
That's a very good point.
So it's going to come down to who survives everything. I caught a few lucky breaks on yellows here and there, so it was fun. But I think I'll sit back and watch the broadcast with a cold drink and not have to worry about being pixels away from people at high speed.
We did catch what happened to Drexler, and I think he had more or less no control of his car, because I think he will have broken both of his rear suspensions.
That makes sense. The one thing I will say about some of the guys in the back, I mean, I guess no disrespect to some of the European drivers we have, but I think some of them missed the memo on that. Cars are faster when they run together than if they try to compete with each other. And after several restarts, we got left in the dust by some people simply because there were people at the back who insisted on dicing for no reason. And I thought I tried to make that point early on. It wasn't just a point about safety. It was a point about, look, if you dice like that, you're just going to wave bye-bye to the people in the front, and then you'll lose the slipstream, and you'll have to wait for a yellow to catch up. And there was a lot of that was going on at the back, and I just don't get it. It's like, come on, guys, we're never going to catch these guys at the front if we keep doing this. So.
Well, and I'm sure Dana, she's sitting behind me again.
Yeah.
I've been watching in the mirrors, and I'm sure she just is gnashing her teeth, and it probably has split a couple molars, because especially when Drexler was up there, and even these last few laps, David Yunt, they keep trying to pull out and pass her, and they could. Jonathan and I discussed this several laps ago, that if they'd line up, I'd be toast.
Yeah, there really is no mystery to getting around people. You just time it properly. Someone comes with you, and that's how it works. Incidentally, while I have them, I mean, I mentioned earlier that we have a Open coming up that we're going to be announcing after this race, and just as a tease, the kind of technique of lining up and slingshotting. Is that even a word? Slingshotting?
Oh yeah.
Well, sort of, yeah.
Okay. In the southeastern United States, probably.
Okay, in any case. The technique that we see some people doing well here and others not quite getting is going to be very, very critical for the Open that's coming up. So I am. That's the reason I'm not too bummed right now, because I'm rubbing my hands together like, yay, I get to put up the next thread, and this Open should be a lot of fun. So
I hope you wait until the race is finished, though, so that everyone gets a chance to sign up equally. But anyway, the race is underway here, and
oh, okay.
but thank you very much for.
Hang out for a sec.
Yeah, sure thing. That's perfectly fine.
That way you'll have color commentary, and Scott can focus on driving.
Notice David Yates has joined us as well, so if you want to chip in, feel free.
Howdy, gentlemen.
Well, what happened to you?
He was involved in Pascal Mikola, the yellow before the last one.
I was just about to pat myself on the back for avoiding all the spinning cars, but came across the apron.
Oh.
Made an unexpected aerobatic maneuver.
Well, that's very unfortunate. I didn't catch that. I just caught the end of it with Mikola making it up into the wall, and not sure who else. I think it was Grant Rudolph spinning on the inside of the track.
Oh, it looked like it was a ping-related issue back there, but someone hit the wall.
It was close, but I came up about a half a car with too short a track to save it and avoid all the cars.
See, here's what I'm talking about. Scott has already broken away from the cars behind him, and they seem to be running in a train right now. But whatever was going, I mean, Scott got an excellent jump at the start, and now these guys are stuck trying to run together and run him down. And with the Penske Chevrolet, it's like he can probably now pull away comfortably. The only way these guys are going to catch him is if they're if they run in a train, but even then it may not be good enough. Now, Yves Poisset in the Budweiser car there, he's a lap down, right?
Yeah.
I believe. So he's kind of in an awkward situation here. I'll bet the guys in the Cosworths are thinking, if you would just let us lead this train, we could probably close faster, because the Judd is not as powerful. So,
Indeed.
but of course, Yves has nothing to lose by staying where he is.
No, indeed. I think he's only one lap down, maybe two.
Yeah,
but
he has no real incentive. Well, I suppose he does have an incentive, because if they are able to get close to Scott, and then Yves gets in front of Scott, and let's say a yellow comes out, then he can make that lap up. It's a highly improbable scenario, but it does exist.
Indeed.
But I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, Scott is now he's way out on his own now. I mean, all he has to do, that car just practically drives itself. All he has to do is drive comfortably, and he could be looking at his first win with HSO. We'll see.
Yeah, he's been running the 5th gear for most of this race, so it has been working very well for him.
Continuing off one of... Oh, go ahead.
And also, just to quickly put in that I had to leave to try and change the track graphics, so I don't have the lap counter working, so if either of you could keep me updated a little bit about sort of 50 lap intervals or something, that would be thankful for me.
Alright.
But yeah, go ahead, David.
Oh, I was just going to say, Jason was commenting earlier about how important it is to line up and not fight each other. Just something that was happening at the front. It wasn't as coordinated either as it could have been. It seemed like a couple people were being racy, but wouldn't turn their engine up or go full out. So it was there was a mix. There was a couple people that were really trying to push forward, and then a couple people would draft through and then like not go at the front. So it was really slowing the pace down.
How he frustrated some people. I mean, I've noticed with Drexler that he will race no matter what the situation is. He sees a car in front that he wants to get past, and that's basically the short and long of what he's looking at. So it happened a lot in Indianapolis. He would be dicing with me when he was a lap down, and I was trying to catch up with the people in front. It didn't make sense. So I don't know.
Like it's certainly hard to tell because the draft has such a strong effect, but just being in that pack, in that 3rd to 7th region, it seemed like there was definitely a couple guys that were throwing sacrificing their engines and fuel and trying to make ground up and work together, and a couple other people were not on the same page.
I would wager too that a lot of the accidents that we've seen, I mean I've witnessed them personally, but I would guess that a lot of them are caused by people just running in a pack with 3 or 4 other cars in front of them. When you do that, suddenly your car behaves like it's on a real knife edge because of how much turbulence there is. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the problem. But we still got these 4 guys running in a train here. I mean, occasionally you got Ray poking his nose out there, seeing if he can get around Dana, but again, he's also a lap down. So. And Ray's really lucky to be in 10th place right now because he was ahead of me at one point, and it was coming up to the point where we're going to do pit stops, and he came in. He was coming down the pit road in front of me, or he came down the pit road. I took over the position that he had, and as soon as he hit the pit lane, the yellow came out, and I'm like, oh man! And he went a full lap down because of that. So that was really. We just waited a lap later. Able to stand and lap with everybody else.
That's very unfortunate, a very unfortunate situation for him, but
well, you can't predict it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean he's still only slightly off the lead lap, so just as with Poisset, it's improbable. Oh, I think we have a yellow here.
Uh-oh.
With the revs suddenly slowing. Yeah, it looks like Bruno Chacon is heading slowly into the pits. So I'd assume he had a bit of a moment out on track. See, I can't catch that, unfortunately, but he was at the back of a big group here, so it could be that he had a washout of downforce and ended up spinning or hitting the wall.
That's a pretty it's pretty easy for that to happen. I had it happen a couple of times where I was behind a bunch of people and the washout caught me totally by surprise. It just suddenly, out of nowhere, I'm going up the banking and I'm like, whoa! And I have to, back out of it just in order to get the thing back under control. And then, of course, 2 or 3 cars go by. So, but this is a godsend for Radal and well, hang on. Oh yeah, Grant Radal. This is a godsend for Grant Radal, Dana Schurer, Alan Forrester, all these guys, because now they're back up behind Scott and they have another shot at him.
And it could also be a godsend for Place and Ray Riddle, who's a lap down if these guys decide to pit.
Yeah, if they decide to go in pits and those guys, the guys you're mentioning that are a lap down, if they decide to stay out, and of course, yes, here we go. Here comes Scott. Oh, a few people are staying out. Yeah, there you go.
Looks like everyone a lap down is heading.
Eves is staying out. And so is
Riddle, Wilkes,
Ray Riddle.
Kowalski, I think that is. Could be Bose as well.
Very, very smart. Because this is what, if they stay, they are now in front of the pace car in the serial. And what will happen is, if, let's say, for example, Scott or somebody close to him will probably come out in the lead, but these guys are going to be in the lead serial regardless when we come back to green. Let's say, hypothetically, an accident happens when we come back to green. Very probable, because everybody's together. In that instance, these 2 guys get to go all the way around the track and pick up that lap they lost. So strategically, they're doing a very smart thing right now.
Certainly a good gamble, because there's nothing
Very
to
good.
lose, and that opportunity or possibility is certainly the most prevalent when you've just had a caution, to have another caution again. So.
Oh, by the way, this is off topic, but Jonathan, I must apologize for the points graphic. That was my mistake. I should have put a number 4 next to the people that were all tied for. I think everybody would have understood.
Yeah, I realized that, so I apologize to everyone watching about that.
Well,
it's all good, I think.
Bad, so just not Jonathan. Okay, so now we have all these guys. Okay, well, wait a minute. What's going on? Well, maybe they need to pit.
Yeah,
because now all the
possibly.
lap cars are coming in. They're basically giving.
Yeah, they'd
up
have to wait till the next lap to have their opportunity. So maybe
they're giving up the chance
risk.
that they had to play out that strategy, or maybe they're not even thinking about it.
Well, they may only have had like 4 or 5 laps of fuel, so.
Or maybe they needed the fuel. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fuel was way down.
But
okay. Well, in that case, it wasn't a strategy that they could do. But now we've got Forrester in the lead.
Yeah, he had a very quick pit stop, I noticed.
He's got some damage on that car. If you look on the right-hand side, he's got a big, sizable dent in the side pod. So there's a chance he's driving with some kind of damage.
Yeah, I was wondering earlier if he may have hit the wall 40, 50 laps
like
in or something.
From a wheel, if you ask me. So.
Okay.
Probably had a thumb cramp.
There's definitely some close racing at times between the pack up front, so I'm not surprised that some people got a little bit of damage from it.
Well, with it being another yellow, gentlemen, I think we should go for the answer in the trivia.
Oh, yes!
You, of course, know the answer, Jason, so...
I'm not saying anything.
But I'll also read a question to you, David, so you get a chance to have a quick thought about what the answer could be. Let me just jump down. So the question was, who won the first Michigan 500 in 1981? Was it A, Bobby Unser, B, Pancho Carter, or C, John Paul Jr.? I'll give you 10 seconds or something, David, to have a go at that. I take it that was a difficult one.
I got it wrong.
I think they always said if you didn't know the answer to say C, but I think A, for some reason, my gut says might have a possibility, but I really have no idea.
Oh, you always pick the middle one, don't you?
Indeed, because the answer to the question is that it was Pancho Carter who won the race in 1981.
That was Pancho Carter's first and only IndyCar win. And there are a lot of drivers who, and another driver that had his first and only IndyCar win in there was John Paul Jr. He won in 1983.
Oh, that's a good race to get the inaugural.
Yeah. But there were a lot of other drivers who had their first career wins at MIS, namely Scott Goodyear, Scott Pruitt. So this race has a history of producing first-time winners.
Well,
Maybe you'll add to that. Maybe you'll be adding that to that today, Scott. We'll see.
Well, I was gonna say, just let's get me in that Scott club right there.
Yeah, Scott Urick, Scott Pruitt, Scott
Goodyear.
Yeah.
There's a long way to go yet.
I know.
Yeah, but
Poncho should have won way more races, especially on big ovals like this, because Poncho was the master of setting up a car for an oval, or one of them. Not. There's certainly plenty, but he was very good at it. Even late in his career, he would bring like year-old cars to MIS, and he'd run up front before the car would quit on him. So we coming back to green here?
Coming to green.
Sounds like it, yeah. So let's see what happens here. Let's see, we have Drexler and Coxon up front. They are both at least a lap down after their instances. Oh dearie me. Oh wow, ho 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 ho.
Look out, look out, look out. Oh no.
Looks like everyone more or less has survived at least turn 1. If only just.
Goodness. So we've got
see, it looks like Urick is already up into the lead here yet again. So we get
Coxon here. So if somebody triggers a yellow here, these two guys get to go all the way around again. I'm sure that's what that looks. Coxon is right. Drexler, he is praying that happens. And now we've got Grant Riddall. He was taking a little bit of the slipstream from Coxon there for a second. So.
Ooh, but he almost had a washout there. Oh, David Junt jumping out from behind, back in the pack here.
4 wide in the back there. So now we got 2 by 2.
3 wide technically in the back.
Those two are now behind the leader. So there goes that scenario where they get their lap back. Now the battle's really joined. We got Grant and Scott right together.
And Grant has already won in this series, but surely he will be wanting to add to that and stretch his lead in the series.
He's
Urick trying to break the draft.
This is an interesting combination here, Jonathan, because you have Grant, who is leading the championship very comfortably, and you have Scott, who does not have a full-time drive. Who do you think is more likely to take risks in this situation?
Usually it's the one-off racer, but
yes. I mean, if I was in Grant's shoes right now, I would not be itching to get around Scott. My strategy would be to just hang with him. Don't let him get away.
Well, they have a big
do that and be there at the end. Then it's show and tell time. But no real incentive to get around him right now, I don't think.
Well, they have about 5. That's probably even 6-7 seconds back to the group behind.
I think part of what happened there was kind of bottleneck at the start, and a bunch of people got checked up. That happened a couple of times on some other restarts where people were just either just checking up or something just was strange, and somebody lift, and then of course everybody behind them lifts, and it's like a domino effect.
I think it has to do with the safety car in the pits and all that kind of stuff. But David Junt still sitting somewhat pretty, and this will be 3rd place. So he's had a good opening 125-ish laps of this race, staying out of trouble, and now sitting in 3rd with a good points haul for him. Him being one of the tied 4th place position drivers in the championship, with David Saber out, who is 1 point ahead. He'd at least pass him.
He probably wants to get around Yves Place here. See if he can get a little bit more speed in that train, but can see how they're all just following.
Yeah, well, Leaves is no slouch in his own right, and even while the car and the engine may not be quite so fast, he's definitely hanging on pretty nicely here, not being passed too easily.
With no setup, so I just gave him my race setup. So I gather he didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this. So given that fact, he's doing pretty good.
Indeed. And the lead too has broken away from Coxon and Drexler, so they are running by themselves now. So that's a nice development for those two.
Mm-hmm. Now, who is the pole sitter?
That would have been...
was it Plavik?
Lavac, indeed.
Okay, so he gets 1 extra point for the pole position. I'm guessing that Scott's probably going to get the extra point for most laps led, at least from what I've been seeing on my menu when I was driving.
Yeah, I think he's led 90% of the laps that's been completed so far.
So he's probably going to get that bonus point. The guy who's gotten that bonus point the last 2 races has been Coxon.
Indeed. And before that on ovals it has been, I believe, Alan Forster got it in round 1. I'm not sure about Long Beach, but probably maybe Grant Riddle there.
Another guy that is interesting to watch, although he's a lap down. Well, no, he's on the lead lap. Is Jacob Fredrickson, who's won 2 races in this series. In this particular race, he's driving a year-old car, a March '87 C. Why the Machinist Union team decided to go with a year-old car for this race, I do not know, but they did.
Sometimes that's all you can get your hands on.
Well, maybe they had an accident with the primary, but then again, this car also ran the Pocono 500 in the hands of Vogler later on, so maybe this is a car that they had set up specifically for high-speed, as Bobby Unser would say, high-speed joints.
There were a bit of contact in that group just ahead of Jacob there between Ray Riddle and Janak, as they came out of 2 on the previous lap.
We got Drexler running with Coxon too, and those two, I mean, Drexler's in 16th place right now, about 7 laps down, so he doesn't really, he's just trying to pace himself here, and hopefully there's enough attrition that he can pick up some points. Not inconceivable.
Indeed, especially looking at how the race has gone so far.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, both Drexler and Coxon will be running with a bit of damage after the most recent yellow with...
we missed it.
So either that's Grant deciding he has more pace, or Urick deciding, I think I'll try to save a bit more fuel here.
I'm guessing that's what happened, because that is the problem with leading in a race like this, is that you are the workhorse for whoever's behind you. Although here comes Scott now. He wasn't content to stay back there, so now he's back in the lead, and there goes Grant letting him take over.
I'd assume he immediately saw that they lost time to the cars behind.
That would probably be his primary concern. If he could have stayed away from the pack, he might have been content to stay there. But as soon as that was the situation, I'm sure prompted him to make that move to the front.
Yeah, because we're at a point now in the race where the likelihood of a yellow is less and less and less the longer we run, because there are less cars on the track. So I'm sure Scott is thinking that he would like to get to a point where these two can have it out, you know, by themselves when we get down to like 10 laps to go or something. Jonathan, you mentioned you wanted a running order at 50 lap intervals. We're coming up on 150. Would you like me to give a full
yes, please.
full,
That would be...
grid? Okay, well, once we hit 150, I'll give the full lap, I'll get the full car rundown, and you can scroll through the cars.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, I'll leave it to you, gentlemen. If I could make a quick prediction before I leave, though.
Yes.
Just from what I witnessed, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple cars up there that are going to all of a sudden come alive at the end that have been saving their stuff. And provided there's a chance that they get closed up, you might see a couple pop out from the top, 5 or 10 that maybe you haven't really seen toward the front.
Got any names in mind?
I don't know if I want to spoil that yet, but there's definitely a handful I think that were saving that weren't showing their hands closing gaps. So definitely going to be interesting toward the end to see who can run with those Penske's and who can't.
Okay.
Well, knowing his oval history, I wouldn't put it past Alan Forster to have something left in the tank.
That's interesting. Did you see that? It looks like Scott's trying to shake the draft now. It's coming way down to the inside, way back out, and Grant is having to hang on to him, follow him, and probably scrubbing off speed in the process just to stay with him. Now he's right back with him again. But I think what Scott's trying to do is to break the draft so he can get out on his own. But here we go. 150 laps complete in the Michigan 500. Scott Urick is your leader in the Penske PC-17. Second, Grant Riddall, the series leader in the points. Lola T88 Cosworth. Third is David Yunt in the Craco March 88C Cosworth. Fourth, Dana Schurer in the Gore Racing March 88C Cosworth. Fifth, Paul Forster in the Newman House Lola. Sixth, Mikael Yannick in the Patrick Racing Team Lola T87 Chevrolet. Seventh is Jacob Fredrickson in the March 87C Cosworth Machinist Union car. Eighth is Jan Kowalski in the Lola T88 Cosworth. Ninth is Yves Blasset in the True Sports Lola T88 Judd. Those are the cars that are... Oh, wait, there's one more here. Last car in the lead lap now is... or I suppose it might be a lap down. Let's see. When they come around. Oh, those two cars were a lap down. Ray Riddall's 10th, one lap down. In the, I believe that's Roberto Guerrero's car. Yeah, it's the STP car. Then we have 11th place with 149 laps completed. Bob Collada in the Mackenzie Lola. 12th, Richard Coxon in the Domino's Pizza Lola. 13th, Richard Wilkes in the Provini Veal Lola number 7. 14th, Raul Yareb, still going strong in the Yugo sponsored car. 15th, Bruno Chacon in the Quaker State March 88C Cosworth. 16th, Mikael Drexler after that accident he had in the Miller High Life Penske PC-17. 17th, Lee Simpson in the Toshiba Oracle Lola T88. 18th, the last car running is Juha Boss in the number 20, sorry, the 3 or 2 Lola T88 Cosworth. Out of the race, Jason White, myself, 19th, Peter Hlavik, 20th, David Jakes, who we talked to before, 21st, Pascal Mikola, 22nd, Mick Chapman, 23rd, Jason Whited, 24th, David Saber, 25th, Simon Watman, 26th, Lewis Stevens, 27th, and Adam Hackman, 28th. I don't know what happened there, but he only was on the track for 2 laps, which is really unfortunate.
I don't know, it caused a yellow, but I don't know if it was a crash or a disconnection. But with the lappings going on, Scott Urick has gotten out in front on his own.
Yeah, he's managed to break that slipstream, and now he's out in front by himself. So he successfully was able to evade that situation where he was having Grant right on his rear wing the entire time. So now he can drive comfortably without having to worry about that. Just has to keep his eyes open for cars that he's lapping.
And it looks like he's a lot.
100 laps to go.
And it looks like Scott is a lot faster than Grant is, at least running on their own.
Well, take care, gentlemen. Thanks for everything you do with the broadcast. Appreciate it. And I'll start ninja clicking the refresh button in the forums, looking for that open event.
Thank you very much for joining us, and too bad you ended up out of the race, but still a good race up until that point.
It was fun while it lasted, certainly.
Yeah.
I always love running with you guys, so thanks for everything you guys do putting it on. See you next time.
Yes.
Alright, take care.
User left your channel.
So that was David Yates leaving us, and as he said, going into ninja mode to find that open thread. But Grant here sitting behind Lee Simpson, who had damage earlier on in the race. But he's yet to get by him here. That's a bit surprising.
Well, they're running the same thing. So, Lee's got the, whoa! Bruno Chacon taking a really late dive down the inside of Halada, right in front of these two.
And Halada backing right out of that. He wanted no part in that one. Oh, running very high though. Oh,
going high, making room for these guys. Halada's probably seeing the, actually, you know, surprisingly, Halada's running 11th, 2 laps down, but he's, you know, that's still a points-paying position.
indeed. They could even be up for a top 10 finish with the attrition we've seen in this race.
Potentially. So now we've got an interesting situation. Here we got, Scott is running with 2 lapped cars. He's got Juha Boss and Raul Urick in tow. And these 2 guys are probably going to want to hang on to him as much as they can, because even though it's not a situation for position, they'll be able to save fuel, potentially, turn the boost back, and maybe catch up to other cars that are down the track from them that we're not seeing. Let's see.
That's Kowalski and Jareb.
So what we can, if you keep an eye. Oh goodness! Oh man! There was just a really, really close call with Mikael Yannick. He was up on the wall, and now he's coming into the pits. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to look at the replay, see if I can see it.
Let's see, he had Ferguson right behind him.
But he suddenly had to go really high. I don't know what that was all about.
Looked like he may have touched the grass on the turn in there.
Yeah, because if you clip the grass here, it's not a good thing. So, we also have Bob Halada into the pits.
And coming out, so...
he clipped grass and it sent him way up high, and actually everybody behind him was very lucky to not be collected by him. In fact, they got through there. It was a miracle. So, and he's coming in, I guess he might have had damage there. I mean, obviously these guys don't want to... We got a bunch of people coming in now.
Yeah, looks like this is our first green flag pit stop of the day.
Yeah, this is the first green flag pit stop we've seen. We've got Peter Hlavik in, we've got a bunch of people.
No, that's Urick actually, not Lavach.
Oh, that's Urick. Okay, so Scott's in the pits. He's exiting now, and he's dropped down to about 6th. The leader is now Dana Schurer. She's running in a pack right now.
Yeah, and it's Lee Simpson, and Grant Ridal was in the pits as well, sitting right behind Scott Urick, so pitting on the same lap here.
You know what Yunt and Schurer and Fredrickson and these guys are thinking right now? Oh, it looks like we've had an incident in the pit lane itself. It looks like there's white smoke there. It looks like somebody had an incident.
You see, that looks like...
Might have been Juha Boss.
It's either Kowalski or Boss. Looks like he may have missed his pit stall, and that's why there was all smoke and stuff going on.
Well, in any case, now you have Dana out in front with Yunt in tow, and you can guess what they're hoping is going to happen. They're going to stay out there and run their cars as long as they can out there, and if they get a yellow, that would be a much better situation for them to pit under the yellow than Scott, who had to pit under the green. So they're hoping that will happen. The chances, though, like we said, of a yellow at stage with not as many cars on the track is slimmer. And here's Coxon trying to get his lap back. He really wants that lap back.
When Alan Foster slips down into the pit lane right behind them, taking the opportunity.
Someone way down low in the track there with that.
Bruno Chacon looked like the Porsche. It was a green car at least.
Bruno. Yeah, Bruno's a ways back. I mean, yeah, he was exiting the pits there. Oh, that's Bruno. Oh, good grief! That's a pit exit violation right there. He went over the white line before he got to the end of the backstretch. So that is a no-no. He can't do that.
That's a bit unfortunate.
Well, it's the rule is there for a very specific reason, because you've got people coming through turn 1 at speed at like at 220 miles an hour. Some of them. I touched 230 in the slipstream. I couldn't believe it looking at the thing, at the speedometer. But you've got people coming down there. They're going to be using all of that racetrack. And if someone's coming out of the pit, they've got to stay under that white line. They have to, because otherwise you're going to cause an accident. You don't know what's coming up behind you. You don't know what's going to be happening in that turn. So you can't just go up into the turn like that. So that's...
And here comes Coxon getting his lap back. Sorry to cut you off, but him and looks like that's his Placer working together to regain their lap. So both of them are now on the lead lap.
Well, actually, no, that wouldn't be the case. Coxon is still, like, whatever incident he had.
He was involved with Drexler when Drexler hit the wall.
Well, he's actually 4 laps behind the lead. So getting in front of Dana really isn't going to. I mean, he's going to get 1 lap back, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to really improve his situation very much. And now he slipped back behind Dana. So the question now is going to be, we have a retirement. Ray Rodal has retired with an engine letting go. So that's one of the few. Well, we've got one other engine retirement, and that was Jason Whitehead. So those are 2 Cosworths that have expired.
He's having
coming
onto the start-finish straight.
Scott Urick is back in the lead now.
So he has quite a lot of laps that he's running less than Dana Schurer and even David Junt, who pitted a couple of laps ago.
Well, that could end up in a big role when we get to the end of the race here, because if Dana's able to stay out a lot longer and Scott is using more fuel, I mean, clearly Scott's been out front most of the race. The fact that he's been running, breaking the air for everybody else, that does put extra strain on his car, and he uses more fuel doing that. So absolutely, it's a situation where that could be, that could play a huge role in the end. We'll see.
That's very much so, and he's coming up on Kowalski and Jakob Fredriksson.
Who are running side by side.
Yeah, he'll clearly want to stay on the lead lap, but I think.
Well, they're just the longer they do that, the harder it's going to be for them. Scott's looking at that, going, "Well, okay, I guess you guys want to go a lap down."
Indeed. Well, to be fair, he'd probably be thinking, "Please don't do that right in front of me."
That's probably the other thing he's thinking, but see, he's closed up on them right away here, so he's probably going to overhaul them. Look at how quickly that ski. I thought, like, at the start of the race that the only people who were going to be able to overhaul cars like that would be the Penske's, and sure enough, I mean, he's just overtaking people on the right-hand side, going the long way around, and he's got enough power and enough grip to do that. I can't do that.
I couldn't do that as well, but then again, I don't run in the series. So, oh dear me, someone hit the grass. Oh no! No!
You gotta be kidding me! No! Oh my goodness! Tragedy! Oh no! Bob Halana got in the grass, went right back up into race traffic, and took our leader out of the race. Unbelievable! That is... Oh no!
That's just that's very reminiscent of what happened to Raul Jereb earlier in the race. He hit the grass the same way and ended up in the race line.
I'm just flabbergasted by that. That's unbelievable.
It looks
So
like
Halana's out of the race, and so is unfortunately Scott is also out of the race. He's lost a wheel. At first I thought maybe, but no. It's so I'm looking at the replay here. I want to try to get exactly right what happened here. Okay, so I'm on board with Bob now. Bob's coming out of turn 4 in his Lola. And he came down and clipped grass, and the grass sent his car up in the air. We did alterations to this track that made the apron a lot more friendly to the cars than it was early in the year. But you don't want to touch the grass here. If you touch the grass, it's liftoff time. And that's exactly what happened with... and it's strange because Bob was running all by himself. Really, he didn't have anybody near him. There wasn't anything that aerodynamically would have made his car dip down that low.
the only thing
because he had...
The only thing I can think of is that he was heading into the pits to make a pit stop, and he completely made a complete mess of that.
It's hard to tell what was going on there. I mean, he could have just been slightly asleep at the wheel and just turned it a bit too much or something. I don't know, because you can get a certain highway hypnosis at this track if you're not careful. But yeah, I don't know. No, he wasn't. I don't think he was going for the. I think he may have just spaced out. Who knows? But he clipped the grass, and that sent the car up. And God, Scott has just got to be the most disgusted driver on the planet right now, because he had nowhere to go. He's a completely innocent party in this, and after all the. I mean, if there's anybody who deserved to win the race today, it was Scott. He just had a dominating performance, and here it goes completely out the window through no fault of his own. I'm really feeling for him right now. That's really difficult to take.
I thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade places with you right now for all the bourbon in Kentucky. I'm really sorry about that. It's too bad.
I saw him go in the air, and I had no idea of knowing which way he was going to bounce or which way the car would sail. And at that point, I guess in hindsight, the only thing I could have done was just stand on the brakes.
And that wouldn't have been a good move anyway, because then you would have potentially caused issues for other people.
Yes.
So no, that's that. You know, in that case, you really have almost no time. But this car is also available for Pocono, Scott. So you could try.
You bet your bippy. Are you making a commitment now? Can I have it?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
You can be on the ball, and you were Johnny on the spot when the thread opened, so you can do the same thing and pick it up again. That's going to be a different challenge than this place, though. It's going to be bumpity bump the whole way.
I really feel for you, Scott.
That really sucks. I'm really sorry. That's not cool. I mean, we were looking closely at the replay with Bob, and it looked as if he wasn't heading for the pits, and he didn't have any cars immediately in front of him, so it didn't look like it was an aero situation. And he just clipped the grass ever so slightly on the inside, and that was all it took. It just, I don't know. We'll have to. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be explaining after the fact. I mean, I wouldn't want to be Bob right now either, because when you take the leader out of the race, you feel like the lowest you can possibly feel. It's not a good feeling, especially since it was on television. It's, you know. But in any case, we have.
Well, I have a feeling I know exactly what it was, because I've done it in testing. Is you come out of 4, and you look down at your gauges or at the gaps or what fuel is left, and keep right on turning the car.
Conceivably, that's what happened. We're going back to green now.
And a lot of check up here.
Yeah, people
trying not to
concerned
pass
about
the pace.
car there.
Yeah.
You know, if people just oh goodness, Fredrickson just used that opportunity to shoot past everybody, and he's back in the lead now in his year-old March.
Ooh, but I don't think he'll stay there. He's on the wrong side. Here comes Shura down the inside of the track. Yep, Shura is back in the lead. Fredrickson lost out to her and David Junt as well.
Bunch of lapped cars in the mix here. But you see how the cars just dance around when there's more than... Like, if you're just following one car, that's one thing. But if you're following 2 or 3, it's a storm out there. You're like...
Yeah, we saw a lot of moving around when they were with the 7-8 car train that was second to pretty much 10th for much of the opening on lap. When was the first yellow? About 30, 32, 33 to about lap 110, 120. There were an 8 car train, second to 10th, all running together.
Dana was second in the Indianapolis 500 this year, so I'm sure she's thinking right now, I want to do that one better.
Yeah, and I know David Junt was struggling with the car, so I think he's very happy with sitting in second at the moment with a chance at taking the win here.
And we've got Fredrickson in third, driving the year-old March for Machinist Union. I think that's the greatest combination of sponsors you could have. Playboy, Schaefer Beer, and the Machinist Union, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does.
Collar all the way.
It is. That sounds like a party I want to go to.
Very much so.
Let me clear my calendar for that one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you have have written there at the moment. That's a certain one.
On the middle of the engine housing. That's not the pop-off valve for the engine. That's the
okay.
That's the tap.
It is.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get that that bit, talk to your parents.
Yes. It's actually, talking about the pop-off valve, one of the nice things about us doing this as a sim racing series, because the one part of the car that these teams did not make or did not touch was the pop-off valve. That was installed by CART, and it was set up, so that only so much engine boost could be used. If you go over that, then the valve opens and you bleed away the horsepower. But that doesn't mean that all of them were infallible. Every now and then, one of these guys would get stuck with a bum pop-off valve.
Yeah,
And
I think there were usually five arrays at Indy for a few years. 5 to 10.
Here comes Forrester around Fredrickson now.
Yeah, he's been trying for a few laps. He may even...
Well, he's got the advantage of a Chevy engine there, so I'm sure that's helping him.
He managed that time around. He was trying for 3 or 4 laps before that.
He may give that position back because he slipped up. Oh, he's able to get back in line. But a lot of the... I know I've read a lot of the teams with the pop-off valves, they really got frustrated with it sometimes because here they had very sophisticated engines and they were putting a very, very primitive piece of equipment on top that was just limiting the power. And if it was a bum unit, there wasn't much they could do about it except complain to CART and hope they would give them another one.
Indeed.
But we don't have to worry about that.
No, certainly not, and we are currently having Alan Forster trying around outside of the leading 2. He was almost up in second for a little bit, but he has dropped back in line for the time being. Doesn't look like Dana has the pace to go by. I believe that's Sieves Placé in the front of the train.
she's being very shrewd right now. I know exactly what she's doing. She is saving fuel, staying behind Eves. There's no need for her to get around him unless the guys in back like hook up in a freight train and try to blow by her. But I don't know. I mean, there's no real incentive for her to get around Eves at this moment. Scott, what do you think?
You get far more draft and can let off the throttle a lot more behind somebody than you can in front. I also think part of her thinking is perhaps Eves could pull her away from the other guys.
Potentially. Although with that Judd engine, I don't know. It's kind of, in this case, I think the best thing that she can do is save fuel, because she's certainly not going to, I mean, that's not a Chevrolet in front of her, so she's not going to be able to really pull out a big gap, I don't think. If anything, having that Judd in front of her might actually hold her back a little bit.
True.
So I think the best thing she can do right now is just save fuel. We've got 188 laps done. We'll give a full field run down at the 200 lap mark, which is going to be in 11 laps.
Forster he's playing it right where he's at. He's not getting too far off to the side of the draft, and he's picking his spots, and he might just get David here.
Well, he's doing the classic trick of kind of halving the draft, if that makes any sense. But there it didn't quite work for him, because now he's getting shuffled back, and now he's behind Juha.
He had a loose moment going into one there, and that really cost him.
Now he's back up there again. Yeah, his car is getting really his car is pushing up the banking suddenly here.
Oh, now it's Richard Wilkes getting a massive slingshot. My God!
Yeah, he had a huge head of steam there. But of course now he's caught on the outside, and he loses about like one step. Well, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step backward there. But a lot of the cars he's racing with are not. It's not even for position. So.
Indeed. But it's difficult to be in that situation because he clearly has the speed to run up here, but being laps down, it's a bit difficult to.
Richard's had a rough season with these cars.
Ooh! Please, guys, it's still over 60 laps to go here.
I mean, Richard, and and like I said, he doesn't really have a dog in this fight. He's not. None of the cars he's driving around here. I mean, he's got Coxon, but Coxon's like 2 laps ahead of him. So, and Ureb is way back, so he's not fighting with any of these cars. But he's mixing it up as if he is.
Well, it's sort of one of those situations that does come up when you're running in a group like this.
I think Wilkes. I mean, he's had a frustrating series with these cars, and of course, as people know, he's responsible for the physics. And when you have that much emotionally invested in a mod, you want to do well in it. And I don't think this season's gone as good as he wanted it to. So there's probably a lot of frustration in that helmet right now. But you know,
well,
that's the rough part about being a person who works on one of these mods. I can say from experience, you want everything to go so perfectly because you effort into it. And then if the slightest thing goes wrong, it's such a letdown. So,
can definitely understand that.
Difficult to remove yourself from your work.
Also to note is that Juha Boss is hanging on to this group, even though he has had a lot of damage picked up during the race.
He's 14th. I mean, he could potentially, and he's got a massive dent in the side of his car. He could potentially, if there's more attrition, score a point. Drexler, despite his problems, is now 12th, which would score him 1 point.
Oh, and here comes CS Placé going into the pits by the looks of things, at least staying on the apron.
Yeah, he's down on the apron, getting out of the way, so he's making it appears to be a schedule.
Oh no, he hit the grass, he hit the grass, he hit the grass. Ooh!
He nearly ran into that barrier. Goodness.
Good thing he got the speed down before he hit that inside grass.
Steve Horn. Steve Horn is going, "What are you doing, mate?"
Sorry, who did you say, Scott?
Steve Horn, the guy who runs the True Sports operation.
Yes.
Okay. My apologies, I'm not too well invested in this
Okay,
era
good.
of karting.
Oh God!
Oh, get off the track!
Another one is gonna get a K2 after this race. What is he?
Dearie
50
me,
feet?
dearie
And there you
me.
go. There's the reason why you don't do that. Right there. He was on the racing line, and here come the leaders. That's why you don't do that. I mean, I don't mean to shame Eames publicly, but that is why you don't do it. Right there. That's the reason why. And it's not us being jerks, by the way, instituting that rule. That was the rule back then.
Yes.
It was the rule, and they adhered to it. If people even got two wheels over that line, they would bring them in for a stop and go. So I don't know. I mean, it's I'm kind of disappointed to see that, but I am thankful that nothing happened.
Indeed. That's a very good situation, but it's I did notice that when he's sitting behind someone, he gets a very good draft and effect out of that Yod engine, so Yod and chassis combination, I should say. So just like Richard Wilkes, he has the pace to stay up here at least.
All right, so coming up on 200 laps, we'll give you a full field rundown here
So
next time around.
I wonder if anyone will try to stay. Oh, here come. Oh no! Michal Janak has just done the same thing as everyone else. He hit the grass.
My goodness! Right in the front straightaway.
I just caught that as I was
back.
scrolling back up the field, and he's upside down. I don't know if he'll be righted from this. I don't think he will. I think he will unfortunately be out of the race in that Pat Patrick.
I don't know. He hasn't hit escape yet.
Well, I think he was
If it's like Indy, it won't turn him over.
No, if he's turned over, that's going to be it. Yeah.
I think he was heading into the pits because he hit the first patch of grass before the pit entry.
Yes, he's out of the race.
I think he was making his way into the pits when that happened. Well, that's really
so we're under
unfortunate.
yellow again. It's too bad because Michal has a great combination in that. I mean, it's an '87 Lola, so not the newest one, but he's got Chevy power. So it's too bad.
Yeah, Scott
let's
showed
see what
during
happens here.
Scott showed during Indy that it's a very good potential in that car.
Well, there's no point now in running down the order because we're going to have people coming in pits here. And it's going to get scrambled anyway. I'll wait until after a couple laps when the pit stops are done.
Well, Jonathan, at Indy, that was an 88 March.
Yes.
My apologies.
And I don't know what Patrick was doing, whether they had too much damage or couldn't get the 88 ready, or whether they felt that the 87 had less drag as a platform. But this was a switch up to them, and they'll change chassis a couple more times through the season.
Yeah, everybody's coming in now. So let's see if Dana can beat David Yunt out of the pits.
Well,
They're both
knowing her
Why
pit
would she
stops.
not?
well, they're
User
both
joined your channel.
they're 3 pits apart. Okay, Dana's away, and but she's got a little bit of a roll. Let's see if she beats him to the blend line. She does. Fantastic.
She's very good on the pit stops.
She just beat him to the blend line. Beautiful.
She definitely has the pit stops down to a pat, just like she showed during the 1973 USAC series. Where
And that's even more difficult to do because you've got all that power you're working with. I think
we've been joined by Michal Janak. Good evening, Michal.
Oh,
Good evening. Who lost concentration and went to grass and make mega loop.
yeah. Well, it makes you feel any better, Michal. You're not alone in that. We're thinking that that's what happened to Bob Halada as well. Just a momentary lapse of concentration, and you clip that grass, and then it's you have liftoff. So
It was my best oval race up to this time. Eighth position, one lap down only, and car was great, and so it was big shame for me.
Well, the good news is we've got, we're only at the midway point of the series. We've got 7 more races to go, and there'll be plenty of more opportunities for you to exploit that Chevy power.
I had a nice battles with Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
We was changing positions. Sometimes he little bit much close the door.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say anything else.
Well, it's a tough race. Very tough to maintain attention for 500 miles. So
you did a very good job up until that point, Michal. So you should take great pride in that. And
mm-hmm.
there are more oval races in the series, so I'm sure you'll get a fantastic finish in one of the upcoming events for sure.
Yeah, like bumpity bump Pocono.
Whoa.
Shake, rattle, and roll.
So yeah,
well,
maybe at this point we should do the rundown of.
Yes.
Oh, it looks like David Yunt
CART,
actually.
It appears the CART officials ruled that David Yunt beat Dana to the blend line. So we have David Yunt leading the race now in the Krakow March 88C. Second, Dana Schurer in the Gore Racing March 88C. Third, Jacob Fredrickson in the Machinist Union 87C March. So we got marches in the first 3 positions. Then the rest of it's Lola down to 11th place. Fourth is Alan Forrester in the Newman Haas Lola. Fifth is Grant Radal in the Raynor Racing Lola. Sixth is Jan Kowalski in the Barago Lola. Seventh is Yves Lassé in the True Sports Lola number 1. Eighth is Richard Coxon in the Domino's Pizza Lola number 30. Ninth is Richard Wilkes, Pravini Veal Lola number 7. 10th, but he's going to be dropping down the order, unfortunately, is Mikael Yannick. 11th is Raul Yareb in the Yugo-sponsored Lola T87, so he's going to move up into the top 10 here. He just did, so I'm sure he's really thrilled with that. Drexler is running in 12th, and if he stays there, he will score points. 13th, Lee Simpson, who's hoping probably for more attrition. 14th, Bruno Chacon, who's in the kind of awkward position right now of being behind the pace car. We'll see how that plays out when they go green. Juha Boss is 15th, and that's the last car that's running. 16th is Scott Urick. 17th, Bob Halata. 18th, Ray Rodal. 19th, me. 20th, Peter Hlavik. 21st, David Jakes. 22nd, Pascal Mikola. 23rd, Mick Chapman. 24th, Jason Whited. 25th, David Saber. 26th, Simon Watman. 27th, Lewis Stephens. And 28th and last, Adam Hackman. That's the running order. With 204 laps complete, pace car coming in. Here we go.
Another check up and green flag, and Grant Vidal flies up the inside.
David really lost out on that restart.
Yeah, Alan Forster. Oh, dearie me. Oh, that was really close. I wonder if he may need to change his underpants after that.
Forster and Grant are now out front here.
Yeah, so Grant made a good recovery during the pit stops here. He was running quite far back compared to the leaders earlier.
Oh goodness, Yves Lassé is out of the race with suspension damage. Not sure what happened there, but he's out.
Oh,
apparently
he had done a pit stop, haven't he? Yeah, was trying to get away from his pit stall and span up the wheels and ended up backing it into into the garage area.
Oh goodness. Well, that would explain why a yellow wasn't thrown, because it happened on the pit.
Indeed. So that's a very unfortunate situation with them sitting in 8th at the time. But the race is still on the way, and Alan Forster is still in the lead. So, as I suggested earlier, when David said some guys hasn't shown their true pace yet may show themselves later on in the running, he is now running in first.
My guess is that he was probably referring to Forster and Fredriksson.
Very likely indeed.
Yeah, I mean, because when Fredriksson came on the server when they were starting to run, he was immediately turning laps of 33.1 in race trim by himself. And I'm like, oh boy. And if he's doing that in a year-old March, we're in trouble.
Indeed. And here comes Coxon getting out of the draft to avoid hitting Grant's gearbox. But I don't think anyone would be able to make it to the finish from here, right? There will be at least a splash and dash.
No, there need to be at least one more stop.
Because I think
Maybe
with the
more.
initial yellow, there were 31 laps.
Okay, now watch Grant. Watch Grant. If Richard gets a run on Alan Forster, Grant is going to lock right on Coxon's gearbox.
It's going to go right with him. Yeah.
And I believe they were working together earlier as well.
Keep in mind, though, that you know, the one advantage Forrester has in the situation is he's got a Chevrolet
Yes.
engine. He's got a little bit more grunt than or Grant. Here comes Cox outside, and there goes Grant, exactly, just like Scott said would happen. And it may actually work, potentially here.
Ooh, if he has the overlap coming off too here, it could definitely work. Oh, and here comes Jakob Fröksen as well,
Now
using the
now-
draft.
Yeah, but now it's not going to work because he's trapped up high.
Oh, and Fröksen gets up the inside.
Back of the line in front of- So now Fredriksson goes to second. Good grief. That was
Oh,
close.
and I think there was contact between Grant and Dana there.
Because Grant, I mean, when you're in that situation and you're caught up high, you want to get back in line as fast as possible, but not in a way that's going to cause an accident. You have to be really careful when you go to slot back in line that you don't chop somebody's nose off and cause an accident.
Very much so, and looking like
Oh,
a
and
very...
he's back up high again. Goodness. He was trying to overtake again there.
Grant's left rear and Dana's right front can't have any letters on them anymore because they were rubbing them coming through 3 that last time.
Oh, and Grant has dropped back quite a bit.
Yeah,
Because he got hung out to dry like he did.
yeah.
Oh, and here comes Kowalski with had a lot of steam coming into 3, but wasn't able to get it up the inside of David Jund there.
He's fortunate he had enough room behind him where Wilkes was so he could get back in line quickly.
So Wilkes is a good driver, so I think he would have backed off either way and let him back in.
Yeah.
I think what defeated Grant's following Richard around Forster was Frederick was stuck his nose up in there and gave Forster a little bit of help to thwart their slingshot on the outside. It became 2 against 2 instead of 2 against 1.
When that's Jan Kowalski going around outside of both Jund and Grant Riddell, and he pulls it off. And suddenly Jan Kowalski has come alive here. Because that was a lot of speed. Here he goes up around outside of Dana Schurer as well. Grant Rudolph immediately sticks his car in behind Dana and puts Kowalski out of space.
And Coxon's he's kind of in a really awkward position here. He's not really in a position to try to get around Forrester and get back on the lead lap, because he's 3 laps behind, and then the next closest pursuer that he has is Richard Wilkes, who's 2 laps behind him. So there's no real incentive for him to mix it up with any of these guys.
Other than it's fun.
Other than it's fun. That's the only... But if you're in that position and you do something wrong and cause an accident, you know, that doesn't sit well with people who are actually working for position. And you would say, come on, man.
This is true.
So he's got to be on the ball. Even though he's not racing for position, if he wants to run with these guys, he's got to run clean.
Well, those 3 Cosworths right now, Coxon, Fredrickson, and Schurer, at least 2 of them are going to have to work together to get around Forster, because what I was using to my advantage with the run I was having was the Chevy has such great mid-range power that where the Cosworth, if you've got it geared right, is maxing out at the end of the straightaways, but when it goes through the corners, you scrub it down enough that it's dropping a little out of the power band. The Chevy wasn't suffering that fate.
Yeah, the Cosworth and the Chevy generate their power slightly differently. But another thing that just occurred to me here, Coxon may be trying to give his good buddy Forster, you know, a boost here to, you know, help him get to this win, because Coxon and Forster are actually pretty friendly, so there might be some of that going on. Who knows?
Well, it is possible, but there is a Swede right behind them, and Dana Schurer as well, who's
a Swede who's already had 2 wins in this series. And when you think about the championship picture, Grant's been shuffled back to 5th now. He still probably will score a good amount of points in this race, even though his car doesn't seem to be doing well in traffic right now. Although, whoa, he's going down the inside of Dana now.
I think that's what a bit of contact.
Dana hangs on.
Like
we talked about that before the race. Like, people asked, is it legal to do that? And we're like, well, it's dangerous, but yes, it is legal. There's nothing saying you can't do that. Of course, you don't want to do that if there's a guy exiting the pit.
Oh no, Grant!
He goes way up high. So his car is definitely not handling well in traffic. He's getting massive washout. But this is a golden opportunity for Forrester and Fredrickson to close the gap points-wise to Grant Rudolph.
It is very much indeed. And talking about Dana holding on around the outside, I remember a specific race at Trenton last year, where she ran the high line when everyone else were running the low line, and she was she was holding on and passing around the high side at Trenton.
Yeah, her car was set up to do run really fast on that outside line. So.
Yeah, which I thought would be completely impossible.
Hard to believe we're coming up on just 25 laps to go.
Wow. Well, I can sort of believe it, because we've been going for about just over 3 hours. But yeah, these last 60 laps has gone very fast. Big parts of the race has gone past as well, when there's been a long green flag spell. It definitely looks like it is between these 3, as here comes Kowalski around the outside. At least trying. No,
I think Grant has basically at this point said, well, clearly if I'm trying to overtake people, my car doesn't want to work up high, so he's probably... Contact!
And here comes Kowalski again, trying to make use of that.
Ooh! Grant came up a little high there and almost got into him.
I think he had a bit wash out again there.
Wash out again, yeah.
Thankfully not as much as he had earlier, so...
Meanwhile, David Young's got shuffled all the way back to 6th with all this that's been going on, so he's kind of lost out too in this situation.
Yeah, indeed, but yet again I think he's happy as long as he finishes well up in the field, considering how much he was struggling before the race. Kowalski now on the outside with Dana Schurer, so I think either way he should be able to. Okay, maybe not. I thought he'd be able to slot in behind Dana there, but Grant is still up inside there and takes the position back.
I'm wondering where these guys are with fuel, because at some point here, it's been a while. What do you think, Scott? Do you think they're going to have to do some kind of splash and dash right before the end?
Yes, they're going to have to. What we pit around 300 or just shy of it?
300. Let's see, where would that would have been? Sorry, 200, 202, 203. So just over 200 laps.
Yeah.
Everyone.
My guess would be they've all got the turbos turned up.
Yeah, they have to.
I'm guessing 25 to 30 laps, so they're in their window right now.
And
this is just a question of who blinks first.
Grant would all way up the track again, so something's really amiss with that car.
Oh, here they come. Now everyone has definitely turned the wick up. Oh, I thought they were going to make it 3 wide for a moment, going into 1 there. Grant was looking up the inside.
Make you excited. You need to see a doctor, because this is good stuff. Now you've got Jacob Fredrickson right in the back of.
Oh, here comes Kowalski up the inside of Dana. Oh, there's contact!
Kowalski!
Holy God!
Some expletives flying in Dana's helmet right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. But she has the. Oh, I think there may have been contact again there, but Dana is up the inside now, and with the draft, she should get back by.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to be helping out Jan.
And he lost out to Grant as well, and here comes Grant up around outside Dana.
No, Grant should know by now that his car won't work up there. He's going clear back. Oh dear. Guys, those are the guys, clearly, those two, Grant and Jan, they're taking the most chances right now.
Yeah, well, more or less, definitely Jan is definitely taking chances. I don't know if Grant... Yeah, you should say that Grant is taking chances. It's more he ends up where he ends up. Oh, and he tries to sell the Dana dummy there, Jan, but here comes Grant. Oh, dearie me.
Way high again. Good grief.
Wow. Oh, no! Jacob was trying to get into the pits. Jacob was trying to get into the pits there.
I think somebody was like, "Oh goodness!" and we've got everybody slowing down. The pace car. Well, the pace car is coming out, and everybody. I guess what happened was the pace car decided to exit this time around, and so everybody has to check up to get behind it. Yeah, that could have been way worse than it turned out to be. But goodness, what happened there?
Kowalski, just romped Dana in the gearbox. Obviously set her nose in the air.
The question now is...
Well, it was more, from what I saw, Jacob Fredrickson was going into the pits and everyone had to check up a little bit because he was slowing down to get into the pits. And it just all concertinaed up completely there.
Well, there you go.
Because as we can see here, Jacob slows up and Dana just slightly gets into contact with him.
Well, Fredrickson didn't go into the pits.
No, well, he technically couldn't because he got sideways, so he had to throw it right to not end up in the inside pit wall. And ended up out on the track again.
This is going to be the final pit stop for everybody. that basically takes it out of. Oh, interesting. Grant stays out. Grant didn't go in.
So does Dana, actually.
Yeah, they both stayed out, so that Grant now assumes the lead. Dana's in second. David Yunt third, but of course they're all in the pit. David Yunt's third mainly because he's sitting at the head of the pit lane. Here come the other cars. Oh, it looks like Fredriksson's going to beat him out. Fredriksson's in third, and it looks like Jan Kowalski beat David to the blend line as well.
Yeah, so does Adam
But
Forster.
the CART officials will sort that out, I'm sure.
Yep. But either
I
way,
just looked at it again. Kowalski got into Dana, and she clipped, like you said, it was a chain reaction. And I don't know if Fredriksson was slow enough. He did signal. I went back and looked. He had, well, it looked like he had signaled, but there were about 4 cars down on the apron in the backstretch. So you don't know if they were just drafting or signaling the pit.
I suppose that's a problem when you have people that are taking a low line like that to prevent people from overtaking. Then yeah, that kind of nullifies that the ability to make that signal. Now we have Forster coming into the pits at this point, and he's going down to 5th. Bunch of people coming in here. It's
Ooh.
odd that Forster would come in now.
oh,
Because
Forster
he
actually
already
missed
made a
his
stop.
Forster missed his pit stall as well.
Is it possible that he missed his pit stall the first time around because didn't he before? Or try to, at least? Now he's exiting.
Possibly
which
either
lap
that or he picked up some kind of penalty.
I don't know, but I mean, everybody should know at this point, if you have a penalty that you don't think you deserve, we give you 250 laps to serve it. So,
Well, a penalty would have need to be served under green, so he wouldn't be serving a penalty now.
good point. He's not
Maybe
serving-
maybe he didn't get the fuel he needed then.
he may have
In
missed
which-
his pit stall.
Which lap now?
We're on lap 234 right now, or 235 actually.
Yes.
So it's 15 laps to go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this would
Or
be a
less.
mad. This would be a mad sprint.
Oh, you aren't kidding. Dana's in front now. She must be really counting her blessings right now, because if she was clocked in the back, oh, her wing is completely askew. Look at the onboard with Dana. Her wing is absolutely kitty wampus right now.
Yeah, I noticed that looking at the TV from the TV cameras earlier. That,
Yeah, so that was probably from Jan hitting her. So she's probably feeling really lucky that she's up in front right now. Now it's going to come down to. I had a feeling that it would come down to Fredriksson and somebody else. And here's Fredriksson driving the car that was driven by the late Rich Vogler. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. I mean, you get two guys. I mean, two people. Dana is an acknowledged master of the ovals, but Fredriksson has won a lot of oval races too. So I would not hazard a guess if it's down to these two who's going to. And I cannot believe that Jan is third right now.
not after all the antics earlier. There.
That's insane. We'll have to see how his car performs once they go back to green, if he incurred any damage. Same with Dana, actually. Now that I think about it.
Well,
Indeed.
let's hope that at least Dana's damage is. Let's hope it's cosmetic, not functional in the physics. Be a much better race.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee Simpson is out of the race.
Oh no!
Apparently, in that incident that caused the yellow, he sustained damage that was not repairable, so he's out.
He must presumably then he must have thrown the car one direction or the other to not hit Dana when she was going all over the track trying to.
Yeah. So now we are left with 12 cars on the track, exactly the number of positions that pay points. So everybody on the track that you see now will be scoring points.
Hey, the Porsche gets points.
That's going to be the first points scored by a. Oh, no, not exactly. Austin Oganowski got points for a pole position at Long Beach, so technically this would not be the first points for the And I think Chocolate might have scored points.
I think Mikola scored points in that car before he...
Maybe, I don't know.
left it.
But in
Oh,
any
sorry,
case,
you are boss, I mean. But we are back to green flag here.
Alright, here we go.
Oh, and Jakob Fröksen gets a good jump on the start here.
This
Oh,
is
and
not-
oh,
I'm not
Grant
surprised.
David, 3 wide behind. Wow.
Good
Oh, and
grief.
Dana is definitely hurt here. She's going to the apron.
Good grief.
Yeah, the wings got her upset.
Right?
David Junt is going for the lead now. And he gets by
User disconnected from your
Jakob Fröksen here. And here comes Grant Rudal with a great sling. Well, he looked like a great slingshot shot, but he stays behind David Junt. Oh,
I
and
wonder
David,
if Grant made any changes to his car in that pit stop, i.e. putting another turn of wing in the front
Yes,
to give it
I would hope.
to give it more bite.
well, if he didn't, he's very brave or very stupid. But yeah, it looks like he's able to follow him a lot better here. So I think he may have made a change to the car. Oh, he may have made a change on the previous pit stop, and that's what made this car so unpredictable for him.
So coming this time by,
Oh no, we have contact behind. Oh no, it's big back there. It's really big. That was Alan Forster, who is upside down.
Forrester and oh jeez.
Not sure who else that was. Oh, it's Richard Coxon.
Oh no.
Oh wow, so that looks like Alan Forster will be out of this race because he's upside down.
Well, Coxon only lost his fronting, but his car is crabbing back and forth. So the question will be, can the car be repaired good enough for him to keep running? I mean, we've said already that everyone's going to score points, but I'm sure he just wants to try to. At this point, he's thinking, I just got to nurse this car to the end.
Indeed.
You can't come in pits now. No, you can't. No. Okay. You can't come in pits now because it's closed. So he's got to go around again.
So let's see here. Alan Forster was right behind Jan Kowalski. And he had Richard Coxon right behind him, and they were side by side. Coxon goes up.
Coxon looks like he got loose coming out of 2, but then back down across the track into Allen.
Oh,
Man.
and that just sent them both.
Alan is still sitting in the by the fence with his car upside down. He's hoping that some
Miracle.
some fairy will come along and flip it over, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, probably not. That's really, really unfortunate.
And believe it or not, Grant Radal, with all his issues that he had in the last few laps, is back up second place.
Indeed. And then with a very good chance at a win, as has Jakob Fröksen, as has Jan Kowalski, as has David Junt.
I don't know, if I was putting my money on someone right now, I'd probably put it on Fredrickson.
It would be a fair bet.
Mm-hmm.
But Ridal, I will tell you, he was the only guy that could stay in my draft. I spent 10, 12 laps trying to shake him.
Yeah, we saw you were trying to shake the draft, and eventually you managed to get it to work. But yeah, he's one of the few that could hang with you.
I let him stay there until we got about 7 seconds in front of third, and I thought, okay, no more free rides, because I really didn't want him being close if we got down later in the race.
All right, well, we're going to have a 7 or 6 lap shootout here to decide the race.
And it'll again be a very hectic one, to say the least.
I'm with Jason though. I would, at the very least, I would put money on Fredrickson to be the most exciting, because I think or I'm looking for and would expect a Fittipaldi-esque move.
I don't think everyone would be
Not a
happy
bad
with that
thing.
one.
Not a bad thing. Just,
No,
I
no.
mean, he will be. He's
Fittipaldi,
willing to.
Fittipaldi made nothing wrong in that one. It was just one of those things.
Exactly.
It was a slide job.
Yes, it was.
I did the same thing. I did the same exact thing to Dana at Ontario in one of the qualifying races with my Parnelli. It slid up high and got into her, and it was textbook Fittipaldi Unser Jr. situation. It was exactly the same thing.
I remember that. Yes, it was. I mean, it literally. It was. You could have superimposed.
Yeah.
The race tape over your incident, and the cars would have been in the exact same place.
That says a lot too for Richard Wilkes, who does the physics for these cars. I mean, it's fun. It's funny. It's funny we see a lot of things play out. You know, I mean, you could argue with what we're seeing here that Indy cars wouldn't quite run in as close of a freight train as this. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but there have been instances along the way where you see something happen and you go, "Oh, good grief! I can go back to X race on Y lap." And, you know, I know exactly. You know,
Just
in real
life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very much so.
All right, are we coming back to... No, it looks like we got another lap because the pace car is still on the way you can tell, the pace car is still on the main track surface. When it dips under that white line on the backstretch, you know it's coming in. So we've got at least one more.
It's going to be at most a 4-lap shootout.
Mm-hmm.
If we get a caution, the race will be over.
Yeah, I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we want another one like the opening race in the 73 series, where the finish was thousands of seconds between Alberto Ibanez and Dana Shuro.
Not inconceivable.
Would be awesome if we had all four side by side coming over the line. To be perfectly fair, but that's probably a bit too much to hope for.
We're trying to think of...
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of close finishes at Michigan like that have been really close. The one that comes to mind actually would have been 1991 in NASCAR competition, where Dale Jarrett beat Davey Allison to the line by about a foot, and he was driving for the Wood Brothers. But that's as far as open wheel being that close, I don't know.
Well, what do you gentlemen think? Will Kowalski back Fredrickson's play when he makes his move?
Maybe. He's been doing a lot of his moves on his own, though. I don't know. We'll have to see. The pace car's coming in, so here we go. Show and tell time.
My apologies about the camera being wacky there, but we are back.
It will be a 6-lap shootout. Sorry.
Beautiful restart that, and not the bottleneck we've seen. But here comes Fredrickson around the outside of... he's so good at those restarts, Fredrickson.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So your first 4 cars are running together.
When here comes Fredrickson around the outside.
He's going around the outside.
He's going for it.
Oh, he has the overlap. He's in the lead.
Closes the door. Gunt's trying to get him loose.
Oh, and here Celsin Madami is up the inside. And
Wide 2 down the front straightaway. 3 wide.
oh, dearie me! Wow.
Kowalski had 2 wheels in the grass. How he held on to it, I don't know.
That's dangerous.
Oh, and oh, dearie me! Jacob, please keep it sensible. And a bit of contact there, I think, again between Riddle and Fredrickson has lost out. He's trying now to close down on. Oh, almost a bit of contact there, I think.
There's less than 5 laps to go, Jonathan. Sensible has no place here.
Yeah, it's all going out the window. The boost is up to 5. Everybody's... Yeah, here comes Jonathan back. Now Jan's getting out to dry. Oh my goodness.
Wow, what a slingshot.
Look at him on the outside. He's got no help
gonna
out
chop
there.
it. No, he didn't.
He didn't have any help up there, and now he's going to try to get back.
Oh!
Oh, he was way sideways.
He was trying to get back in line, but that's dangerous because he's... Oh goodness, now he's...
Here's Kowalski. Oh, don't go 3 wide.
Next time by, we have the white flag. My goodness, this is going to be an amazing finish.
Well, I'll ahead of time do that. Oh, yeah.
Grant's going backwards. Now here comes Fredrickson. My goodness, white flag this time by. 1 lap to go.
I must say, if David holds on to this, he's a one lucky bastard.
But no, they're going 3 wide now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dearie me, please. Oh, there's contact. David is on the apron. Kowalski is in the lead. And here comes David Junt back on the draft. Almost contact there, and he gets help. Oh, dearie me. Wow.
Kowalski's got to run.
Junt's gonna go to the outside.
Ah, can he get it? Oh wow, what a finish! I think David Junt got it though.
4 1,000ths of a second.
Unbelievable, David. What a finish!
Holy, wow!
Wow, fantastic! And the beautiful thing is with all the, I mean, there was a lot of there was no cooperation going on there, but they kept it clean. There were no accidents.
Wow, Jakob Fredrickson dropped to 5th actually.
Yeah, Fredrickson really got shuffled back there, but man, where's Coxon at?
Wow, what a finish! Oh my god! So to quickly go through the standings as they are, David Junt got the win ahead of Jan Kowalski. 3rd for I think at least Grant Rideau. 4th for I think Dana Schurer, because of how the standings sort of shuffles around a little bit, and 5th for Jakob Fredrickson. 6th for Richard Wilkes, so he held on very well towards the end. Raoul Jereb gets a 7th place finish, so he'll be very happy with that, I'm sure. 8th for Mikael. Now the standings must have been shuffled up a little bit with this, surely.
I was going to say, how did Dana get back around Jacob?
I think the standings will have been shuffled around a little bit after the finish. But
Well,
yeah.
I'll be taking a look at the tape just in case.
Yeah.
I don't. But
wow.
you look at the lap total. It's 250 laps. They completed. So the top 5 they all completed it. So if there was a penalty that was going to be assessed to somebody that was pending, it didn't happen.
Indeed.
So from what I'm looking at, it doesn't look like there was a problem. And nobody's said anything in the chat. So on the surface, it appears we have a clean result.
Indeed.
But I will double check.
But wow, what the finish!
4 1,000ths of a second. Boy, Jan almost pulled it off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to go take care of housekeeping issues. If you want to have an interview with
User joined your
Mr.
channel.
Junt, I'm assuming this is him now.
Yeah, that's him coming in. So yeah, I think we'll have a quick chat with you. Thank you very much, Jason, for jumping in and helping out.
Yeah, no problem. Scott, catch you later.
Care, man.
User disconnected from your channel.
So David, a bit of a hectic end to that race, wasn't it?
Yes. For a moment crossed the line, I was just like sitting there waiting for a lap and thinking, did I really win, or is just the standings just not updating and I'm not really sure if Jan got me before the line. And just feel so special right now because I never thought I would be good at Noble, and it was such a great race.
I have a question for you. Listening to your voice now, how many laps have you been holding your breath? Because you're still catching it.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, maybe I held my breath the last 2-3 laps, but it was such a tight battle, and after like trying to memorize, for example, what David Jakes told me to do over the race and such, I tried to, well, put that into place, and in the end I wasn't sure of the fuel because I did only, I think, get about what I should take, and it was close before the last yellow, and then I got it down there. I could have probably done it like that, but then there came the yellow and there was just like a fly to the finish with boost 5, but even then it was not easy at all because Jacob was an amazing slipstreamer and always found a way to get close again, and Jan made so much out of his opportunities to get alongside, and I thought like I seemed not to have the pace even on a boost 5. They could slingshot me at the right time to get past of me, but I somehow held on to that, and I'm still so amazed that I won that race because I never thought I would have any chance in the end because everybody was so say good and fast and still maybe a bit aggressive at times, but I was just like more or less waiting and then in the end seeing what's gonna happen, and it really worked out. And I'm still speechless that this happened. I would never have thought that at an oval I would get to race for the win.
It was a well done drive.
It was, although I feel like at times during the race when I tried to work with David, I just messed up everywhere. I felt like I was in his way. I couldn't draft, which probably everyone else was like pulling tricks on us because I was just sleeping there. And the worst thing I felt was when there was that incident where I think Peter crashed into the other people and David managed to avoid them. I was just like braking and waiting, and he got on the grass and managed to avoid them, and then he flipped the car and then backing, and I felt like shit, why did it have to be him? Why wasn't it me? Because he was doing so much better than me. That's why I felt a bit really disappointed that he wasn't there in the end to race for the win. So maybe I could say, I mean, even it's long past now, but I would at the same time I like dedicating David that I managed to go to the end and win. But at the same time, I would also feel like I get even my share of memory or remembrance for Bob Wilson, because I don't know if he's been so good at oval racing in real life and in Simracing. I have huge respect for that because in the end, I managed the best out of it, but he would probably have been much better than me. So, also like memory to Bob Wilson. So, yeah, it's nice.
Very good. Good of you. Good of you. Yes, Bob would have had a hoot with this one. He would have been, I think, up there and fighting all the way.
For sure.
Yes. I even saw in the hot laps list before the race, I saw that Michigan was like, I think, used in pre-season testing. I still saw his name there and I was like, oh Bob. I was like thinking, yeah, he was so good from the box side. He was so good at setting up. Even though I mostly heard that he was very good. I was only racing him like a few races in USAC and the first race of the season, but if anything deserves a huge congrats because people make fun of like, oh, races that only turn left, but it's so much more than turning left. There's so much more strategy. There's so much more. There's slipstreaming, strategy, you need to set gears up, everything. I'm having still, even the spatial awareness of everyone. I think in the last 2 laps we nearly lost because we were like 3 wide, and I'm having so much respect for people racing on ovals. It's because it's very, you need to have all your senses up and concentration to the max, otherwise you, I don't know, cause an accident or something. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very 3-dimensional racing on an oval, just like anywhere else. And, as you say, there's a lot to take into consideration.
Yeah, I was also worried that something happened during the race until close to the finish that my ping went up. I'm not sure if it was like server related or if it was here local, but I had really big worries that either I disconnect or that I would be causing people issues with my connection. So I was glad when I saw that it dropped down before the end of the race. rather than course that's just making things more problematic for other people. So I'm sorry.
I think there were a couple of situations with that where there were lag for me and the broadcast. I don't know if it was server side with that or if that was me as well, but either way, as you say, it's good that it worked itself out, and big congratulations on that amazing win by 4,000ths of a second.
I hadn't even seen the gap. I just like saw 0-0 and Grant like 0-1, and I thought like, did I really win a kart race? Because my big goal this season was I wanted to win one race, at least just one, and then I could like say I crashed the other races out and just go anywhere. But I thought one big highlight, and then that would be everything. And I managed on an oval, which is surprising since I'm usually not an oval guy. I'm probably never an oval guy really. I just watched it and I feel like, yeah, I get the feeling of being careful, spatial awareness and such. But I'd never think I would get it, especially with like the March. But so it happened, and I don't know. It's a little bit speechless because I didn't think I would make it to the end like that. So I also saw when Scott was out. I mean, big sorry for being out. I saw that I didn't know what happened, but. After that it looked like it was a race for everyone, because I thought Scott, he would win if nothing would happen. Then something happened which even surprised me. Then the race was open like that.
I was surprised.
Well,
I think we all were surprised with that one. That was...
I got taken out by a UFO. An unintentional flying object.
Oh. Well, I saw a lot of flying objects, flying Jake's objects, flying something that caused contact with Dana. I don't know. I saw a lot of flying, but I'm happy that it wasn't me flying, because I think I know the feeling. I flipped it in practice and it wasn't very funny, to be honest.
Certainly gets your attention, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's easy to flip them here. I mean, everyone had. It feels like everyone had like his Mark Webber impersonation this season, or at least in practice. And then
yes.
But there's nothing holding you back. It's like you punted Barry a bit at the exit of the turn, and then it's just seeing the sky, and then hopefully the ground again. But yeah, I wouldn't really want anybody to happen to it, especially the way it happened to David, because that was just shit luck since he managed to avoid car spinning and went around them, and then he took off on me, which was, I think, softened down the effect, but it still caught him out, and that pains me really much. I worked with him before the race till to get in place, and then working together when I was close, even though I felt like my teamwork was really well. I'm sad it wasn't there to race with us, because he's really good. And he helped me a lot. Really last minute setup changes, and his IDs once again were the best that I could have got. Was a bit worried that I'd revved too much the engine, since I had like started saving it again, because I tried like one lap or something to get to the lead and then drop back again, and it took its toll on the engine, and I was like, I don't know. Well, I still had like 50% less in the end, or a bit below, but yeah, I didn't feel as comfortable as before.
Well, I think we'll begin to cap off the broadcast here. Thank you very much, David, for coming in and chatting with us, and again, congratulations on your win.
Thanks.
And thank you, Scott, for staying with us even after that unfortunate retirement for you, and for helping out with the broadcast, with the color commentary, and some good insight, and helping out during that very hectic last sprint to the finish.
That was totally my pleasure. I enjoyed it. It was still fun to watch, and yes, was disappointed I went out, but the way the racing was, I couldn't turn it off.
That's good to hear. So with that, it's thank you from me, David, Scott, Jason, and everyone else that joined the broadcast booth during the event, and all the drivers, and thank you to the drivers as well for putting on a fantastic show with some great racing and some very memorable moments. And until next time, which will be, I believe, in 2 weeks' time, take care and good night.
Night, everybody.
Yeah.
Fantastic show with some great racing and some very memorable moments. And until next time, which will be, I believe, in 2 weeks' time, take care and good night.
Night, everybody.
Yeah.